like, all right, apparently. Just waiting on non-farm payrolls just coming out here for October. The unemployment rate, 4.1%. Our data here a little bit delayed for this, but 4.1% versus 4.2%. 180,000 forecast there for the overall non-farm payrolls number for October. I have a feeling that's wrong, but 12,000 on this website right now showing, but we'll double check on that, but just be aware. Unemployment rate, again, 4.1% versus 4.2% expected. Non-farm payrolls on the private side, negative 28,000 versus 160 expected there. We are expecting as well both S&P and ISM manufacturing PMI data coming out at 9:45 and 10 o'clock. Stay tuned for that. We'll bring it to you live when it happens. Kind of strange. We'll double check on that number, but 180 was the forecast on there. Was there a interesting reaction to the market downside here a little bit off this NFP number? But that's the biggest one for today, at least. I don't know. Are you seeing anything different on that
I'm seeing basically the same thing. You're seeing the unemployment rate at 4.1%. The private sector is lost about 28,000 jobs. 40,000 government jobs got added, public sector jobs there. The September numbers were revised to up 223,000. Also, the August numbers, Brendo, revised up to 78,000 there. Yeah. But I'm not seeing that print.
Yeah, I'm just double checking on another site here, saying the same thing. 12,000 versus 254 expected there. So the number 12,000, which is a huge miss, obviously. The market,
I'm seeing the same thing here.
Yeah, the market downside here on that.
So it added 12. The consensus was 113,000 versus the September 223,000 print. But Brendo, I was widely reading this morning that this was going to be one of the weakest prints that we got in a couple of years because of the hurricanes that were coming in and the amount of basically the pause on the jobs that it added there. So we'll keep eyes on this, and if we get any new numbers, we'll let you know. Yeah,
back higher now for the NASDAQ anyways, back to green, 0.57 at the moment here. But yeah, we'll keep an eye out here for anything different. 4.1%, as we said, on the unemployment rate. So kind of an interesting print there, guys. To start things off on a Friday, Sean off, enjoying a nice long weekend. Obi's in. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Sean. Of course, he's got to get that all those candy in there. You got to.
You got to take a day off just to consume all the chocolate that you've acquired on the night of Halloween.
We did well. Later on I'll show some of the loot, but we did pretty well in our household. I was able to do a little bit of pillaging and brought a little taste in for Ramin and Fabian. Okay. You guys have some too. It's just a little bit. I mean, you can't take too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, that number, Obi, like somebody
what's
forget
going on there?
Someone forget a zero.
Someone definitely forgot a zero.
Like there's a fat finger when you add a zero on a trade, or two accidentally, and then in this case, like maybe someone forgot a zero. No, but
one less.
I went to double check. I mean, the Fed. Look, next week it's like 91% chance we're going to get a quarter point. Everyone's basically assumed that. Like maybe you have some kind of a shift in there today. We'll see. This will update in real time here with the Fed funds rate tool, like whether or not this will move even slightly towards more than the 25. I don't think that's going to be the case. And we were of the point that it's kind of turned into this malaise where I don't think anyone's caring about the Fed at this point because you're looking at earnings, and more earnings. And that's what it's going to be all about. Speaking of which, we're at the Bezos breakout. I don't know what to call it. Like, what do you call the Bezos lid?
I think that's what people have been calling it.
It's got to begin with a B, though. That doesn't work. Bezos lid. The 200 level has got to be like a... No, not blow up. I'm going to call it the Bezos breakout because if it ever gets through this top, then I think Amazon can go 7% to the upside for Amazon. But don't forget, man, the last time we were here, it was the most obvious sell zone in the planet.
Yeah. I was going to call it something else, like Bezos with a B, because when that ass gets slapped, I think because the thing is there was unusual selling pressure. Every time we got it, we saw what Amazon was doing every time we pushed up into the 200. We even saw the filings that came out. He sold around 200, 201s. And I don't know if he's done selling. I don't know if he sold. Who knows?
So basically, you're saying that Bezos is going to back that ass up.
I like that one. That one was good. Yes, he's definitely backing that up. Again,
I can just quit now. That's the last time I'm gonna do a good one.
That we talk about A+ and B+ setups. Neil, that was an S tier setup.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. We're on it today. Let's go.
Oh boy.
All right, Mr. Raider Trader is back in the building. Last day, how you feeling?
Amazing. Better than ever. Athletic. Handsome.
Athletic.
Okay.
So descriptive. You made it through the week in Toronto. Happy to have you back. Yeah, we're keeping an eye out here for anything else coming through as far as data is concerned. But yeah, it looks legitimate. They also revised both September and August to the downside significantly as well, specifically August. Downside by 81,000. So August was revised down by 81,000, 159 to 78,000. September was revised down from by 31,000 from 254 to 223. And then we get a 12 print on top of that today.
Yeah, the article I'm reading here really blaming everything on the hurricane effects as well as some of the Boeing strikes. Don't forget that Spirit had to furlough several hundred workers as well. Spirit Aerosystems, which is Boeing supplier, so we'll keep an eye on this one. 4.1% the unemployment rate, Brendo, and not much in the way of wage growth.
Yeah, as Neil was mentioning there, it's Fed week next week, so if you hadn't looked at a calendar, we'll get Mr. Powell coming through. Market kind of shrugging this off, though. Back to the upside we go right now for the NASDAQ. Anyways, 0.7%. Pretty good look. I mean, there's so many things to touch on as far as individual names. Amazon, the big one, kind of yawned at that employment number. 7% to the upside, doesn't care. Still holding up strong. Apple, not so much. Right at the lows, once again, trying to hold that aftermarket support. I mean, it's 1.8%. It could be worse for Apple.
Yeah, look, it was a mixed report for Apple, so it completely took me by surprise. We were talking about weaker iPhone sales. We got stronger iPhone sales. We thought we were going to get weaker or stronger services. We got weaker services, so it was a mixed bag. We'll have to see how it does. The reason we always harp on services is because they're huge gross margins, and it's not a physical product, so the cost of goods that you input is really low, Brendo. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that.
Anything surprising you this morning as far as earnings?
No, not really. But as far as a lot of the mega caps and things like that, they do play kind of a big theme. Even other mega caps are really up after hours, despite Apple being down. And it's just one of those things where, is this going to be a bigger trend that develops, or is it going to be just a hiccup along the road to the upside? I actually think that markets right now are favoring somewhat of the mega caps to the upside, as we've seen with Amazon, and I'll look for a continuation trade in that one. But I think within the next two months or so, you should see a lot of hype get back into these mega caps.
Specifically on the growth side, Neil, you were making that point this morning. The growth on the services for Apple was just astronomical still.
I understand the services number. It didn't meet expectations. Fair enough. But you've got to consider, they've gone from nothing in less than a decade to bigger than J&J. J&J sells everything. So what they've been able to pull, it's unbelievable. So I get it. I can understand when that services is even like a small miss. Why you're down a little bit. It was like a fly in front of me. Why you're going to be down a little bit. We saw some shades of this. I guess with we've seen it with all the big cap tech names. I mean, save Amazon here, obviously doing what it's doing. Where if it's not perfect, it's just not going to be good enough when you're trying to bust all-time highs. Especially when you've already seen previous resistance. So, yeah, are they going to win? I think, obviously, Apple's going to be okay. And then you got to throw in another fact. Apple lags the S&P this year, and that basically never happens. So you're in a weird spot here with Apple where it hasn't actually been that great of a stock when you compare it relative to the market. And I think that's going to provide an opportunity when it starts to catch a little bit of a bid. It's going to have some catch-up. I just feel like you're still in that pullback mode after we had that run at the highs, and then not a perfect report. You have to be able to admit that everybody wanted that services number to beat, so the fact that they still have growth, obviously it's great, but I think you can be at least testing today 220 because obviously it's a Friday, and a lot of times those even numbers are going to be a little bit tricky to trade away from. But you had major support, major support at the 215 area. This was every time we'd get under 220, buy. And then when you held underneath, it bounced off 215 and ran away from it. So we deal with the 220 level here today. If it can't hold on to 220, this might be a good test of 215 coming up next week. I actually, when I sat down, was thinking 225 short, but seeing as we're closer to 220 than we are to 225, I have to change the plan of action for Apple. So I didn't put it on my note today because it's a little too far away from that 225 spot. I thought, like when I sat down this morning, I really thought you had a decent chance to get there. You're within like $1, $1.50. But now that we're bleeding to the downside, I'll probably move that in here to like VWAP 223 where I want to fade on Apple.
Yeah, no, Neil. Remember, if you remember, just a couple of weeks ago, how Apple was moving around on speculation of iPhone sales being less than expected, or potentially not really coming in as people wanted them, and then we get that earnings report and just blowing through the roof there. Again, looking back at it, I see what we did past earnings. Right here, we had that August 5th kind of that bottom there, right after earnings. We've been trading above that. Now we're trading a little bit lower here, just at the lower end of the range, coming back into that 210. It was this bottom right here at that 213, 215 area right now. So going into the day today should be interesting. We've been downtrending for the past couple of days, a little bit of a sell-off coming into earnings, and we get that a little bit of continuation coming in as well. This pre-market with a low of 220 flat from the after hours yesterday. So that's going to be interesting. We're trading only about a point away from there. So yeah, let's see what Apple does on day one earnings today. Not really a top idea for me just yet. We'll see how it sets up for the intraday.
All right, a lot to keep an eye on here this morning. There's this data is kind of strange this morning. It's a little bit delayed as far as the market itself coming through as well. COCH popping up in front of me here once again. There's a few small cap runners moving around as well. GSAT, one of those up on a positive headline, just coming back into 150. TOVX, there's VSME as well. So in addition to a whole bunch of earnings this morning, more low float action. Mr. Raider Trader, I know you're not a fan of these, but
no,
you got to keep an eye on for any of the active traders here.
Yeah, no, I am a favor of small caps in the form of IWM, but as far as trading names specifically, like G said, I couldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. So
I hear you. Sharif, on the other hand,
Amen.
got to go where the action is sometimes.
Exactly. Well, look, if you can put the risk to reward in your favor, we'll have at it, right? Look, the continuation on some of these small cap gappers lately has been a little bit suspect. It's not like 2 weeks ago where you could just throw, just basically look at the several hundred or several triple-digit winners that we had on the day. Seems as if you really got to select them going in. The ones that I really like, though, Brenda, are the ones that show up midday. The ones that didn't really exhaust their trading volume in the pre-market or early at the bell, they show up kind of 10, 11 o'clock and kind of trading anew.
Yeah, one of those things you can expect with those types of stocks, you get the initial push out of the open on the ones that are moving in the pre-market, and then there's a rotation that goes kind of through the entire group that's active this morning. Speaking of active, here's Wayfair. Just reversed the entire move. We got to $50 at the high there, still up 5%, but just reversed the entire move right back down. I was just double checking when their call was, but they reported this morning better than expected for Wayfair. There is, as we all know, quite a high short percent on this one.
Yeah, they really dumped it off underneath VWAP in here. Sometimes you can look at the price that you like, where you want to transact at it. But if you're looking for squeeze, like you're looking for a long setup off of here, and when it doesn't give it to you, which clearly it doesn't. I mean, you can, like, there's nothing bullish about this bounce off of VWAP here. Like, you could just stand in front of it. You're just going to get run over. But yeah, Wayfair does not have what we need, apparently. And it's still, look, it's still going to be up. And you pull up the daily chart, it is still making a trend break. But there's probably a few shorts that are, let's just say, breathing a sigh of relief. That this didn't hold on to the 48 level this morning. I don't think you throw it out completely because you still have like prior support in here at 44. It could bounce. That could hold the open. Maybe you get a little something back into VWAP for Wayfair. But yeah, underneath that 48, that's what had to hold. And now all of a sudden not looking that good. I mean, we kind of glossed over that GSAT. I mean, this is worth a look. I mean, it's got 35 million in volume already. It's one of those dollar bouncers, so it bounces off a dollar exactly. So I know there's going to be some active traders looking at it. On the daily, it went right in and holding under prior resistance at 150, which does give you a launch zone after the open. So it needs to get back. 150 is exactly at VWAP. So you got resistance on the daily, which is pretty much exactly on VWAP as we can speak. So you just use that as an over-under. It holds it at the open, give a 145. It's underneath now, so I wouldn't want to touch it. But at the open, if we're holding on to 150, you can have a reasonably tight risk. You just need to see it claw back up there. So this is one that can be joined. But like Wayfair, if we lose 145, you got to get out of here. And let me just double check. I actually don't. It's not a lot of volume. Do we have locates? Yeah, we can short this one for free here at Real Trading. So it's free locates. I mean, it works both ways. If it loses 150 at the open, this is a decent reversion play too.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I'm kind of looking at it here now. Something I've been talking to Neil about over the past few weeks is that I did not used to look at small caps the same way as I have been over the past few weeks. Just kind of finding out that there may be a lot more edge for us on tickers like this than we previously thought. So I have been watching some of these names for the day one, day two plays here. But yeah, no, expanding relative volume. It's probably going to be a day one because it barely does any volume. So most of the volume being done has been in the pre-market today. Let's see what it does. Glad to know that we have some free shorts on it. Got to watch out for the squeeze, of course. Now I don't know off the top what the short float on this ticker is, and I'm sure it'll have some sort of short float there.
Only
3%.
That's it.
So Neil is telling me 3%. Okay, all right, that's not too bad. So it should be interesting going forward. They're trading just underneath that $1.50, making lower highs as well. But yeah, I know that Wayfair definitely a little more interesting for me, where it kind of wipes pretty much the whole move. We had earnings this morning, nothing too crazy, double beat here, but trading all the way back down. Something interesting to note is both increasing volume and increasing relative volume as the price kind of pushes right back into its former days close right here on Wayfair. So definitely going to be one on watch for me.
I think there we go.
Happy Friday. Michael Moss joining us for a wrap-up of what's been a pretty exciting week. Happy November, by the way. It's the year is just flying by, as we've been saying. Brand new month, which means Michael Moss is very happy because he has monthly charts to look at. His favorite time of the month, always. You want to look at solar here. It's interesting. We had a guest on yesterday. We were talking a little bit about clean energy specific, kind of an interesting theme going into next week with the election. But from a technical standpoint, what are you seeing?
Yeah, and it's interesting how sometimes the news and the technicals just add up. But yes, as I sat on the couch stealing some of my child's candy, going through monthly charts, solar looked interesting. So let's just get into it. I'm going to start with a monthly chart of the SPY, just to give everyone some frame of reference. I have more work to do on the weekend to look at monthly charts, but this is slightly concerning. If you go and look at the far left-hand side of the chart, you can see the last time we had what's technically a shooting star pattern, where you had an up month, and then you had this kind of topping tail month that ended up closing red. Yeah, right there, perfect. And then the next month wasn't so pretty. Not saying that that's going to happen or this is the end of the bull market or anything like that, but we're up a bit. That is technically a shooting star pattern, which could be a topping pattern if we get some continuation next month. So we have to pay attention for that. That will line up around the election, which will obviously make charts hard to read anyway. But one thing that I do, and I always do, is I go through and I sort all of the ETFs that I look at by how they're closing in the weeks range or the month range, which ones had the best looking kind of bullish candlestick. So that's the next chart I have here. And number one was TAN, so the solar charts. And solar's been kind of a dog for a long time. I've been waiting and looking for an opportunity to get in, and this might be it. So you can see a theme too. We have solar, USO, which is oil, DBC, which is commodities total. Boat is just a shipping ETF. So a lot of energy and energy related type names are starting to look pretty strong and firming up a little bit on the month. So let's go into the monthly chart. The next chart I have here, the monthly chart of, this is the monthly chart of TAN, which is the solar ETF. And I just zoomed right in. I took off all the labels and everything. So we can just look at the last 3 or 4 months of candles. And what I'm noticing, and this is the beauty of candlestick analysis, is just these bottoming tails. Under this 39 to 39.50 area, we keep selling off under that a little bit, and then some buying comes in at the end of the month, and then we sell off a little bit more, and that's happened 3 months now in a row, where we're getting some buying under this 39-ish area. So it's very interesting to me when we zoom in here to a weekly chart, that area is lining up with a prior high from way back in 2020, before we had this insane run from 2020 to 2021-ish, before the bear market started. We're hanging out in that area, and we've been hanging out in that area for a year now, pretty much. I think over a year at this point. So the old saying is, for a stock to go up, it has to first stop going down, and we haven't really gone down. We haven't really gone anywhere in a long time. Again, it's been a dog. It hasn't been anything that anyone's wanting to get involved in. Sometimes when you see things like this relative outperformance on the monthly basis, you can start to see opportunities there, right? We talked about the SPY, how that had a topping tail and was down in the month. And then we have TAN, which had a bottoming tail and was still down in the month, but not as much. So that's very interesting. Now, next chart is just, this is an RSI divergence that I'm highlighting here. Now, RSI is just a momentum indicator. What it doesn't do, what a lot of people think it does, is say, hey, you buy when it gets oversold and you sell when it gets overbought. That's not the idea. It's to talk about the average up move versus the average down move. So when you start to see price making lower lows, and you start to see some sort of momentum indicator not making lower lows or making higher lows, that can just show you sometimes that the buyers are starting to, or the sellers are starting to run a little bit out of steam. They're getting met with more buying every time that hits. So, this $40-ish area on TAN, I think, is a pretty good line in the sand. If we can get above that with some oomph, some volume, some news or something like that, this might be a good place for a longer term play to get into some solar. So as always, again, you can just Google I just Googled TAN ETF holdings, and this next slide is kind of what came up. A lot of Chinese names, which were kind of interesting to me. I didn't know that they held these foreign type stocks. So a bunch of names from Hong Kong, which was interesting. But number one, and a lot of the fund, over 10% of the fund is for solar. Another 10% is nphase. So, a lot of the big names, So I looked at for solar, and it's putting in kind of the same kind of pattern here, where the last chart, here is just for solar. We had a big gap down under a pretty clear support area of about 195 on First Solar on earnings. That yellow vertical line is earnings. So we gapped under, but then we rallied up all day. So they bought the dip on the earnings gap down, and we're still holding around that 195 area. So you can either trade the solar ETF, which I couldn't find a leveraged one. I actually looked for, I couldn't find a leveraged one. Or you can go in and you can just get the top name, the name that I think looks the best right here. So it's First Solar. So my game plan here is pretty simple. If we get a move maybe over 200, a close over 200, I think I'm going to buy a little bit. I think I'm going to put my stop under that gap down on earnings, that green candle, and that's my trade. So if I'm right and we're going to get a little bit of a turnaround in solar, then you get some pretty good risk reward there. If we could get up to 250, which is the high before that last fall down, if we break that, maybe 300, and I'm risking, $5, maybe $7 a share to make, hopefully, many times more. So pretty simple play. We got to understand we're fighting a trend. That's never easy. It's generally never fun and never pays quickly. You've got to kind of wait your time as it churns through all of this. But if the signs that are pointing to a potential bottom in solar are here, I think this First Solar is just a very simple way to play it. You've got your out, and that's all I really want to know is, where do I get out? So close below the low of this prior candle, then I'm wrong, or early, and I'll probably talk about solar back here in another month or so.
For anyone who has been with us throughout this year, we've been referencing from time to time and over again the importance of the election that's coming up next week in the US, and from a technical standpoint, historically, what that has meant for the overall market. We'll dig into this a little bit deeper coming up on Monday, maybe next week with Michael Noss. But just from just a broad overview, it was November on, once there's a little more certainty coming back into, a macro picture for the overall market, that was when, from a technical standpoint, things kind of evened off and we saw some follow through.
Yeah, usually, and again, it's cliche, but I think it's cliche for a reason. Is the market likes certainty? Things like what you mentioned with solar that may favor one candidate over another, or marijuana stocks may favor one, or coal, or whatever it is. So if you're a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund manager, and it's Friday, and I think on Tuesday there's a giant regime change happening one way or the other, right? You're getting a new president in the U.S. You're going to spend your time not trading and not making bets right now. You're gonna wait to see what happens and make bets then. So what we can do is we can go back and look historically at charts, and that's what I'm going to do on the weekend and bring that to you guys and just say, when everything is resolved, generally what happens? And generally that's when you get a move that is more trending, right? We've been in this kind of choppy environment now for a while where it looks like we're breaking new highs in stocks and in Bitcoin, and then it comes back down. It's been a little bit frustrating to be a trend trader, but hopefully and historically, come mid-November, that starts to resolve itself once everyone's, everything's sorted out, everyone knows what's happened, and people start to take their bets based off what they think the next regime is going to do for the next kind of 4 years.
It'll be interesting to, maybe we can dive into relative strength along with that, in the sense that there have been pockets of the market throughout this entire year that have just been, amazingly strong. So from a comparative standpoint, looking back at what's happened in the past, is that somewhat normal, or has that been an outlier as far as strength is concerned? But great stuff. As I said, we'll dig into that more on Monday. Michael Noss, have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you then.
I'll talk to you then.
Thank you very much, Michael. I know somebody who may or may not be bullish on a solar name as well. I mean, I could pull up a chart of nphase, but I'm sure somebody else would like to talk about nphase, which is bouncing off of a double bottom on the weekly here, Mr. Raider. So I guess some great minds think alike. Double bottom, election incoming. There he is. Maybe. He might have some calls in there. Yeah, that's right. So look, obviously, whether or not the election, forget about which way it goes. From a technical standpoint, 11% short float. As we said, this is a weekly chart, by the way. Double bottom on the weekly, and you got a bottoming tail after earnings. That's the key thing here for nphase. When I throw up the daily chart, I mean, you can see the volume spike, but sometimes I just like to show that nice little E in there to show you earnings. There's your double bottom, and now you're consolidating higher for potential breakout next week. So you do have a nice long generating itself here on nphase. I think that is going to be worth a look. Now, the other way to play this, remember, as active traders and as day traders, come Tuesday, come Wednesday, we get to look at this on an individual basis. So we're able to sort of show up on Wednesday, and I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. If it's breaking out above this prior high on Wednesday, I keep saying Tuesday, the election's on Tuesday, we traded post on Wednesday, then I just be looking for continuations as long as they like what they see here. And again, who wins? I'm not trying to be political about it, but if one is seen as favoring and that causes it to break out, then joining the trend is just what you do. You're already seeing, I think you're seeing some of it. Obi was talking about this with oil and energy. Some of it's getting priced in already. Yeah, but solar, why not? I mean, it's been so badly beaten up. You are getting a bit of a trend reverse on a couple of those names. It is worth a look. It's good to see both Michael and Andrew seem to like this play as well.
That's interesting. I hadn't taken a look at TAN, the ETF that Michael Noss was talking about until he just mentioned it. And yeah, this is looking quite interesting. Again, with the election coming up, should be interesting to watch some of these energy names and place your bets on some of these stickers. But something that has been moving around, I think, on watch, again, moved around a little bit yesterday as well. maybe potentially setting up for an intraday, as well is crude oil. We saw that volume coming in on Thursday, right? On Thursday, we saw that volume coming into the end of the day there with a strong aggressive push. Things reported today, both Chevron
and
XOM both reported today, so it should be interesting. Both earnings day one names on that oil kind of bid that we got just yesterday. So going to be watching both of these names coming into today here. CVX as well. A little bit of a bleak, I guess, not doing too much volume in the pre-market as of right now. We'll see what these things do off of the open, but you can see pretty much sideways consolidation on a lot of these tickers as of right now. But yeah, no, energy names definitely on watch going into the election coming up.
Huge board here, starting with Wingstop, which reported earlier this week, getting an upgrade from North Coast up about 1.5% today. Apple still down after those earnings, but getting an upgrade from Maxim Group with a $215 price target. Amazon, another Meg 7 earnings name from last night, faring much better than Apple and getting this Telsey Advisory Group upgrade. Then we have Peloton here, down in the day after its rally yesterday. Much like all the other names of the upgrade side, it did report this week, getting a Telsey Advisory Group upgrade and a $9 price target. On the downgrade side, we have Estee Lauder. They sold off about 20% on earnings yesterday with this downgrade here today from JP Morgan Chase. Kellanova getting a downgrade from Exane BNP Paribas. We have Hyatt with a downgrade from HSBC Securities, and Pampa Energia here with this downgrade from Citigroup, guys.
Pamp it. First of all,
I did it, Sharif.
Big shout out to Russell Jackson. Thank you, Russell, gifting 5 memberships.
Thank you.
We appreciate you, Russell. We still got the Vegemite here, although we should probably throw this stuff out.
Does that stuff even expire, Neil?
Vegemite never expires. We want to thank you so much, Russell. So if you want to accept memberships, you have to turn it on when you enter the chat, and when you enter the chat, you have to be a subscriber. So make sure you hit that like, make sure you hit that subscribe so you can get in the chat for us and accept the memberships. Thank you so much, Russell. I mean, Wing won't stop going down. Like, this is, you're going to slap an upgrade on him. Okay, good for you. It's obviously under a little bit of pressure. Now, the other thing you have to consider here is this was down, obviously, over 10%. And you had another flush off, so it should be SSR today, and you could get some kind of an SSR bounce. The volume is so incredibly low, though, so when I looked at it, I was like, well, it's a maybe for an SSR bounce if it finds maybe a 275 level. But then you remember Peloton for some continuation here, if it can hold the $8 level. You just look at it, it turned off 9 yesterday, never really got into, I like the 725 to 730, never got in there. I think Sean at 760. Now you've got this support here at 8 on Piton. There's your breakaway. It's your breakaway on the daily. Still has some room to go. Obvious wall at 10, let's be real. But until it gets to 10, want to look for some continuation plays on Peloton. It's going sideways here, so maybe a test of that $8. With the market looking weak, by the way, with the market looking weak like this and turning around, like we were going up on that number that I guess some people think was wrong, but you're now pulling back in. I think you want to give some things some room to go. So out of those upgrades and downgrades, we'll obviously be talking about Amazon and Apple individually in the watch list when we go through the rundown. But Peloton's one. Don't sleep on it. At $8 support in the afternoon, I think that's the level you work off with for some continuation. There were a lot of flyers and runners. Obviously, Peloton, which we were just talking about there. Roblox was another one, day 2 type of play. The $50 level is fantastic on Peloton. That's where we were long pretty much all day long. On Roblox, and I think Peloton's very similar for the $8 level.
Yeah, no, there's an interesting name on that upgrade list as well. Bit of a favorite, I guess. Amazon with the upgrade, but let's see. They also had pretty solid earnings there. This thing is definitely printing more and more money every year on Amazon. But let's see if we can take out that 200 with that little bit of an upgrade there. We know that our buddy Bezos is sitting up there waiting for his fill so he can potentially get a new yacht.
Yep.
No, I'm joking. But maybe not. I have no idea. But he's definitely, I don't think he's done selling. We've seen the filings, again, selling around 200, 201s. and he wasn't necessarily done even selling, I think, half of his position last time we checked. But it should be interesting on Amazon today. That 200 definitely level that stands out. I don't know if the upgrade is going to make much of an effect on it, but we shall see. Apple as well with a little bit of an upgrade. They did sell off of their earnings. Again, we talk about the low of 220 here. We got some anchors, a bunch of anchors coming in here on the 15-minute. I'm sure some of these are from prior earnings. We're holding some of those levels going into the morning session as well here. Oh, that's a lot of indicators. Let me take that off right here. But yeah, no, kind of sideways range here, Neil, that we've been in on Apple for quite some time here since the middle of September. August bottom right there, pretty much consolidating sideways. Even with the sell-off off of earnings, we're still well within range here on Apple. So it should be interesting. Both of these names going to be on watch today.
All right, let's get into everything else we need to know here as we head towards the open. I'm keeping my eye on Wayfair. It's about to, and actually is right now, taking out pre-market lows here and aftermarket lows from yesterday. So whatever they said on the call, definitely not good for Wayfair. It was up significantly, tagged 50. $8 reversal there for Wayfair.
I need to hear what happened on the call there at 8 a.m.
Yeah, let's talk about the futures.
Probably wasn't fair, you know.
Love it. All right, guys, it was not a good day yesterday on the market. Negativity everywhere on the ES and the NQ. The ES definitely taking it on the chin. We did defend that local area of support, though, that we've been defending since September. The level is also recycled from back in August. That level is 57.25 to 57 1/3, in and around that area. Let's see if we can hold that area. That's going to be our support. As resistance, if we really catch a bid, we're looking at 5,800 as resistance.
Who wants free stuff? We have it. Go down to the description of this video. You guys don't qualify. Go down to, I was talking to Ramin.
Ram, yeah.
Go down to the description of this video. There's a link there for your email address to be entered, and you can have that. Every single morning we send out what you need to know in the pre-market, everything that's moving around, and why GSAT is making a move here once again, that GSAT. Let's talk about Amazon, 6.8%, trying to bounce off 199 even. Long list of positive notes from analysts this morning coming off their report. What can we say here? I mean, Jeff Bezos just keeps having good days.
Brendo, he needs another yacht for his service
Obviously.
yacht, right? So he's got a service yacht now. He needs another one. Let's talk about how they did. EPS beat, revenue beat, surpassing estimates and the guide. The cloud business, so this is where we're looking at because they're the biggest of the bunch in terms of AWS. They grew a healthy 19%, but lagging behind Microsoft Azure, growing at 33, Google Cloud growing at 35. So we'll keep an eye out on that. CapEx as well, the amount of money they're building or using to build out these data centers jumped 81% year over year, and it's going to continue to go up. They're looking at spending $75 billion by the end of this year in CapEx, and they're spending more next year too, Brendo. The guide was excellent as well, 7 to 11% increase year over year for revenue. It fell just below, but the street didn't really care about that.
You were talking positively about this one earlier in the week. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, so people need to remember as traders, there are mechanics to market. And despite the fundamentals of how good something is, if you're not a long-term investor, well, that can shake up a lot of what the near-term price action of the market is. So far, I don't think there's been any mega cap that has continued off of a gap up to the upside. I know Google sold off right at open, things like that. So if you're looking for a continuation somehow in Amazon, things like that, I'd be careful. One key level in the market, specifically SPY, I'm looking for is that 574. I saw a lot of bet and a lot of flow bets in flow betting on 574 being a level of rejection today. I know we're gapping up off the low, but that's what I'm going to be watching for.
Huge gap as well for Amazon here. We're right back to highs, guys. Literally right back to all-time highs for AMZN.
Yeah, look, Bezos might not need a new yacht, but he might need a new service yacht for the yacht. Yep. Which is that's the other thing. So it's entirely possible there's more selling. I was reminded of that by Sharif this morning, when you got the yacht that services the yacht, that that's how it's rolled. It's just a different world. But I can't be thinking about this as, look, when the way it sold off at 200, it is what it is. Sell zone till it's not. I actually believe it needs to break 201.5. It's got to get out and about above 201.5 and start breaking the even dollar after that before I'm looking for a breakaway long. And at that point, like, you're going to be up a ton if it goes to that point. But I'm still thinking of this as a sell zone until proven otherwise. So yeah, 201.5 has to go, or I'm looking for shorts at this level. So it gets into 200 again, and I'm looking for any kind of reversal. That can play out a lot of ways. Like, remember on that daily chart, when it was fading off of 200, it was multiple breaks of the 200. Every single day that the short was working, it would break the $200 level, fail somewhere between 200 and 201. So that is the setup. If it doesn't break 201.5, I'm looking for shorts in that area, period. Whether it curls at 201.75 or 200.75, 288 cents, 201.11, something along those lines, I'm still going to look for fades in that area till we're through 201.50 on Amazon. I love everything about the quarter, love the company. I think they're going to be fine in the long term, but until proven otherwise, it's still a sell zone up here.
Yeah, no, I think that's a perfect way to put it. What is the stock going to do off the open? I have no idea. Is 200 going to be a resistance? It has been in the past. We're so close to that all-time high. So unless and until that seller or that selling, either one shows up, doesn't show up, or shows up and then lifts, there's definitely going to be decisions being made around a lot of different possibilities in and around some of these levels here. Going back at a higher time frame, we can just go to a 3-hour chart just to isolate what that all-time high was, 201.31, Neil. So that prior high, 201.31 here on Amazon. Again, all-time highs here. That we made that high. When was this? This was the week of July. So the second week of July, we made that high here on Amazon, and we kind of saw that Bezos potentially had some shares to sell in and around that 200. The market kind of pushing up here on Amazon. Let's see if we get that tailwind for that push through the 200, and if that 200 doesn't come in, then that's perfectly fine as well. We can take it right back into some of these ranges here. I think watching the tape at key levels will definitely be a little bit telling here today, especially on Amazon.
All right, let's go on to Apple here. Back to support levels on a daily chart here for Apple. Not a huge gap, 1.7% only. We'll tell you why in a second here, but overall, kind of a muted response to earnings here for Apple. And hey, guess what? iPhone 16 sales, not that bad.
No, not too bad. We haven't had too much data yet because we've only been selling them for a few weeks when we got the September quarter. But beating on EPS, beating on revenue, everything was hunky-dory. iPhone sales grew, beating the street's expectations. There was a one-off tax charge that really hurt the bottom line, the net income. That was the money that they got to pay out to Ireland. It's about $10.2 billion, give or take or so, from the Irish tax arrangement back from 2016. To look at some of their other products, Mac and iPad both grew. They had not been growing the past quarter. Services, we talked about this earlier, grew 12%. But it was below the street's expectations. The only thing that really declined, Brendo, was the wearables. The Apple AirPod, the Apple Watch declined 3% year over year.
You an Apple guy?
You know, I am an Apple guy, but the Apple Watch fell through for me. I was like, always the belief. I was telling them at this dinner last night or the night before, but it was, if I get an alert and I'm going to see a text message, I'd want to respond to it, and I don't want to type it on my watch, so I'd pull up my phone anyway. So that's my opinion. I don't know. My mom, she's a huge Apple Watch user. As she says, she gets lost and it buzzes her wrist. I don't know how she gets lost, but that's what it was. So anyway, Apple over Samsung.
I mean, you get off track. You need to
I guess.
adjust.
When you're a mom, I guess, yeah, I'll never be a mom, but hopefully. But
as he's watching his iPad right now. So.
And cell phone.
Yeah.
All I know is, we'll leave that one alone there, Andrew.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
whether you're
I say we move on.
back to
What's
stocks,
the next
everybody.
trade? What's the next trade?
Yeah, so Apple. Look, I actually think Apple. Look, I like Apple for a fade today, but now I'm gonna try to reclaim my thoughts here. Where was I gonna go? Oh, no, it doesn't matter. Look, whether you like them or you don't like them, once you're in the ecosystem, you're good. Like that's it. You're gonna stay there forever, pretty much. Like you have a lot of loyalty when it comes to Apple. One of the things to consider here is, and we talked about that the services growth not being exactly what everyone was expecting, and you needed to be priced to perfection when you are going off of all-time highs. So 225, when I sat down, 225 was the level that I liked for a short. Obviously, we're not going to get any kind of a chance. Well, okay, it's not impossible. I shouldn't say I shouldn't say never for something like this at 225, but I have to look somewhere else. And when I pull up the 15-minute, you can kind of see like 223 is going to stand out here on the 15-minute. Now at 9:30, the 200 level in Amazon is going to be the bigger priority. But you've got VWAP and you've got resistance here at the 223. So a pop and fade, an over-under at the 223. Only want to be short as it's failing back underneath. It's the same way I felt about 233. If it's holding over, you don't fight the trade. I would wait for 225 for the fade on Apple. The fact that we're back to flat after we got the payrolls number, I think kind of puts like your plays, anything that you had as a play before, I think you're kind of okay to stick with it. We didn't really get too much of a change of direction from that payroll number. So I want to stay looking short on Apple. It initially won't be the 225. It'll be over under at the 223 level. I think 215 is going to be a good buy zone on the daily. That's probably a next week after the election thing.
Yeah, no, I think just off the bat, we're trading within the range of the earnings report here. So I guess the first thing I want to do right here is throw that anchored on to the earnings candle right there, earnings reaction candle. Okay, I got to change the color of that one so it can be a little bit more visual there. So let's change that to, let's say, like a nice dark blue. Okay, perfect. All right, so. Yeah, there's the earnings anchored here. Now I have a couple anchors here from before as well. I'm pretty sure those are coming off of prior earnings as well. Yeah, you can see this green one right here. That's probably from the August. No, that's not from the August. That is from the August right here. Okay, so yeah, you can see this green is prior anchored, and then we have some other anchors kind of coming in as well. So we're trading below some of those prior levels as of right now, as well as current anchored off of last night's earnings as well. So it's going to be interesting watching some of these levels here. This level kind of showing up very distinctly here, just underneath that 224. You can see a bit of consolidation, bit of a flat top roughly forming there in today's pre-market session, just shy of that 224 area. Let's see if we can get back up there. Right now, I'm watching some of these wicks that are being made off of the earnings anchored, current earnings anchored as of right now, just underneath that 223 mark on Apple. So it should be interesting going forward. Pre-market lows, again, clean 220. So we're going to be watching that as well. If we get that continuation to the downside, that 220, sure going to be interesting here. Again, with market tailwind, that's what I'm always looking for. Can we make some sort of move? Can we get some sort of price action that is in confluence with the market, and do we have that market tailwind to potentially give us a stronger trade? That's what I'll be watching on Apple today. That 220 definitely standing out. That 224 as well.
Ooh, Intel.
Nice beat here. Raider Traders here once again today for anyone who's just joining the final day, the week of Raider Trader in studio, coming to an end. We're all sad.
There's lots of tears in the room.
Are you excited to go home?
No, not really. I love traveling, and I do. For those that don't know, I graduate from online university this December or May. So I get to do anything, trading, all this other stuff, and I actually like traveling. I don't mind it at all. So
nice.
I don't get homesick. So.
It's been good to have you. 6.5% here. The surprise on the earnings side this morning. You're right out of the gate after 4 o'clock last night. Intel super strong on a better than expected Q3 number.
EPS beat, Brendo. Revenue beat. There was still obviously a 6% decline year over year in revenue, but it exceeded the analysts' expectations. What really stood out to me was a net loss of around $17 billion. That was a result of reconstruction costs as well as impairment charges. So it's a one-off event. Hopefully it doesn't really continue in the future. Also, now how their different business segments did. The PC chip business dropped 7%, but that was outdone by their data center increase, which increased 9% year over year. So even though they've been behind on the AI game, they were able to eke out some profits over here. Last but not least, Brendo, they do plan on transforming their foundry business into an independent subsidiary, possibly, and explore external funding. And that's interesting news because they're really focusing specifically on foundries now.
I was just double checking, exactly. I was just double checking NVIDIA. We got to wait a couple of weeks here. I think it's the 20th. Yeah, so 2 or 3 more weeks for NVIDIA. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so as far as Intel, that was actually a name I strangled yesterday. If you guys were on the show, I bought puts and calls hoping on a beat of the expectation, which we actually got. The options were mispricing only one standard deviation, while the overall markets were doing two. So I actually saw an opportunity there. We got that initial move. It was up almost 15% at one point from the low. But now we are dragging down after hours and only up a couple of percentage points. So don't celebrate too early, I guess, is the note of today.
And coming off the disappointment from AMD going back a couple days ago, I mean, kind of a mixed start overall for the semiconductor group.
Yeah, well, actually, NVIDIA had a pretty distinct reaction at 8:30 to the number, which I'll get to after we talk about Intel quickly, because, look, Intel, I think it's going to be relatively simple. I threw my note to 23.3 level, 23 and a third, 23.30, whatever you want to call it. That's been the local resistance. If it cannot break out above here, right now that local high is 37, I believe it, double check, but call it 40. You know, you break this, I think you're in breakout till you get to about 23.80 to 24, and then you got another leg from there that you have to battle with in that top 24 at 20 cents there. So I think a breakout here, but if it cannot get above the 30 level, I think you're fading until you break. I'm more than likely going to have only the breakout trade, because I looked over, you know, the reaction on NVIDIA was very distinct. It sold off right underneath that 135 zone when we got that number at 8:30. So you were kind of cruising along here on NVIDIA. There was a huge move also in the afternoon, especially late in the day, where it tried to get out to the 135, and then you saw it sell off on the imbalances of the balance flip. I think you've got a pretty clear pivot area here on NVIDIA at this 135. I know it's gapped up 1%, but it's a little bit deceiving sometimes when you have that kind of a gap up, because really the imbalance move took it down $2. Like, it was trading 134.5. Effectively, throughout the imbalance, we're really mostly flat here and still underneath that 135 resistance. So I think simple over-under on NVIDIA at the 135. And then if we're going upside, it's the breakout on Intel above that 2240 that I'll be taking. So I want to look short as long as we're underneath 135 NVIDIA, whereas I want that breakout on Intel above 2240. If we never break that Intel, it's probably just going to be a trend down. You can join trends later, find things at VWAP, lower highs, all that good stuff.
Yeah, no, Intel with that report last night, I was like, wow, that's super strong. Kind of walked away from the desk going into that 4:30, 5 o'clock mark there. I didn't really see this until the morning session, where I was like, okay, well, it gave back about 50% of the move that it had right off of the close, off the earnings reaction right there last night. So definitely a name on watch today. I already have the anchored kind of pinned to that initial candle there, earnings reaction candle. We did trade below it here. Some interesting levels as well. I like this 24 and pre-market lows here at that 22. Was it 22 halves-ish area here on Intel. Let's take a look at what this ticker has been doing coming into earnings as well. A little bit of a sideways chop consolidation. We saw that prior earnings, we took a nasty tank all the way down, going into that I guess $20 area here. We've been consolidating sideways, holding that 1851 low, kind of stepping up a little bit here. Let's see if we can hold some of these levels and continue to the upside here on Intel. We did lick grab this high of the consolidation right there at that 2470-ish area as of right now. 2485 is the high, earnings reaction high, so it should be interesting going forward. But that move definitely faded a good chunk of what we pushed up into overnight. So going to be interesting coming in. That pre-market low definitely on watch at that 2250 for me. Let's see if we can get that continuation either way, to the upside or to the downside, but we are trading below this anchored as of right now.
Let's get it. All right, Microsoft next up here, coming off the worst day in 2 years for the stock yesterday on an earnings miss. Huge gap down yesterday. There was really no bounce back into early September levels right now for Microsoft, but trying to hold 409. Do we get above 410 maybe today? There's not much in the way of news on this today, but coming off that huge move, worth watching.
Yeah, certainly, Brendo. And it held a key technical level. If I can show the chart, Fabian, over here. This was a level that we put back in early October, October 7th. It held up there on the earnings dump. In case you're wondering what happened, Microsoft reported a couple of days ago, EPS beat, revenue beat, but it was the guide, which implied a slower growth rate than analysts were expecting as well. Delays from suppliers for their data center infrastructure also influenced this as well. But yeah, it's a day 2 play. What's your look on this?
Yeah, so as far as mega caps and everything like that, my trade thesis has always been, these are going to likely benefit into the end of the year, but I'm really focusing, for traders at home as well, you guys need to focus on what's actually moving and what's going to get those continuations. Right now, we've seen a trend of Roblox, mid caps to small caps, IWM, even look after hours. IWM is outperforming to the upside. We talked about this yesterday, but if you want to kind of get the bigger bounce to the upside, you play the lagger, since we are starting to have that idea of forming a bottom. The laggers will get the most aggressive bounce off the low. So that's what I'm looking at. IWM and some of those Roblox continuation plays. Like it's been holding. I think it's holding highs today. I think.
Yeah, here's Roblox. Yeah, definitely.
Reddit too.
Yeah, here's another one. Reddit. Good point. Absolutely, great point. These have been outperforming. Where you see Microsoft not even close to these levels from just going back a month or so ago. We're right back to the bottom of the range today.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get agreement out of me when it comes to Roblox there, Andrew, no question about it, because the 50 level on Roblox held really, really well. There it was off of VWAP pretty much the whole day. The early in the morning took it way too early, but then once it held higher pretty much the entirety of the day, trading off that 50. I think working the same thing, 50s and VWAPs is gonna make sense. As far as Microsoft goes, I'll leave it at this. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you, except for the fact that double bottom at 406. I can zoom it out so that you can see the recent bottom, the one that you would have seen on the daily chart as well. You lose this, that's pretty much like the short-term Alamo, probably a test of 400 at that point on Microsoft. That said, primarily going to be looking at Amazon and Apple as big cap tech names, and since those were short ideas anyways up at those tops, unlikely to have that softy. But that's the level. If you're playing it for longs, you can see the level that you need to hold. It's about $4 away from it now. That's over a percentage point, just over a percentage point currently. So just be a little bit careful, maybe patient if you're trying to go long off that level. But given that I'm initially looking short, softy is going to be a no trade for me.
Yeah, no, I like that. I just mentioning to Neil, kind of selling off of earnings right here. You can see in the after hours a strong flush that comes in and around 5:30. Not even off of the earnings report, but much later. There you can see going to 6 p.m. You get that strong flush, and look at this. That flush continues off of the open. Look at the opening prices right here. The opening print does not have, I guess, the imbalances is what I mean. The imbalances that come in at 925, straight flush down. The opening print doesn't have that much of a range back to the upside there. Only goes about just above that 416, and then the strong flush as well. And then look at this, going into the closing imbalances as well. Microsoft sells off a whole percent going into the close. So it had a strong sell off of the opening print, and then a strong sell going into the closing print as well. A little bit of a double bottom being marked here at that 406. So coming into today, let's see what it does off of the open there. That 406 bottom from earnings day one, definitely interesting. That consolidation high right there as well. Morning session, I guess, lower high right there at that 412. Should be interesting, bit of a range, but that bottom definitely standing out a little bit at that 406. So that's what I'll be watching on Softy today. Let's see what we do in and around that level on earnings day two, Softy.
More downside here for DJT to wrap up the week. 3 days in a row on the red side. Here we are gapping down another 6% on the daily chart. So profit taking, I guess, ahead of the election obviously coming up next.
Yeah, and we saw a bit of a shift yesterday in the odds, at least in the betting markets, Brenda, with respect to the election. So I'll have to have a look at what Kalshi's saying now, dropping from that 64 print that we had a couple of days ago down into 57. Kamala Harris getting a bit of a boost. If you look at Polymarket as well, a bit of a drop down, but he's still above that 60% mark. A lot of what we're looking at here on DJT is really election related. There's really no fundamental reason we're looking at this.
Thoughts, Mr. Raider Trader?
I mean, I would tell people the polls, the money, it's all about the voting. So if you guys haven't voted, go vote. I voted, early voting. So obviously I won't say who I voted for, but you guys can take a guess. I also will say that, you know, when it comes to this kind of stuff, you guys have to know that the odds of an election can always be beaten. I mean, heck, there's always underdogs. You guys are probably all underdogs in your life story, so just go out and vote. That's all that matters. And as far as the election, well, there's some trades that will definitely be cooking up after that.
Well said. Raider Trader, it's been great to have you all week long.
It's been a blast.
Going to be with us for the remainder of the day, but yeah, great to have you. Guys, what are we doing here with DJT today?
DJT 36.5 resistance. That's going to be the only area I look for on DJT's 36.5 resistance. I'm going to try to quickly get into Bitcoin. I'm just going to say it as fast as I can here. That daily resistance, there's your trend line. We bounced off it yesterday at 69,000. So prior resistance turned into support already on BTC, which has me looking at IBIT for continuation longs. Mara as well if it can get above 17. But essentially, IBIT here at this 40 level, if it can start holding above the 40, break back out the top here, looking for a continuation long. I like when you find that prior resistance turning into support, but we're about to ring the bell for the final time this week. Adara actually has, those are green, by the way, but it's not seeming to matter as the market's headed down. Let's ring it in 2 and 1, Adara. So there we go, the market is open, and instantly, I mean, it didn't take very long, but Amazon got underneath VWAP. And remember, looking for a retracement, I want it testing the 200 level. The money fills, if you were looking short at the Bezos zone, were above 200, not beneath 200. So that's where I want to be looking here for Amazon. It's still doing a little bit of a base. Not a lot of movement, maybe like 20, 30 cents up and down off of VWAP here for AMZN. Apple's not really doing a heck of a lot either. Where is Apple? Apple's still pretty much at the same range, although there was a test on NVIDIA of the highs at that 135 and already starting to come back in. Amazon, tons of volume, no movement here. Obi?
No, I'm kind of watching this here. Still holding that 198 halves as of right now. We did sell off of that 200 coming in. Again, 200 in the pre-market was a level right here. You can see the highest we got today was 220. So we're selling off aggressively off of that. I'm looking for a level to hold, right? Again, this thing is pushed a little bit higher. It has gapped up. So I'm looking at some of these pre-market levels to come in on Amazon. Things that kind of stand out, maybe 198s, 197s as well, 196 areas as well. So, you know, I've got my supports marked out, support 1, 2, 3, and then some resistance on, at 200 and 201. 30 is what I have. 199s trading here on Amazon as of right now. A lot of wicks on my chart, but again, I'm not really watching the chart as much as I am watching the tape here at that 200 level. Let's see what we do pushing up into that level, Neil. I think I just saw somebody, oh, it wasn't a spoofing, man. There's only about 480 lots sitting at that 199 half, and that gets taken out, Neil. That 200 potentially incoming as of right now. So let's see. We got to wait and watch for this one.
Yeah, it's starting to go. By the way, Roblox just broke the high of the day. I'm sitting VWAP on Roblox. Mara's not giving us much of anything, but send it in the back. You got to be talking about Amazon at that 200. Mara not going. IBIT, which is the other one we're looking long, is specifically on Bitcoin. No break of the high just yet. So it is trying to get up, but you're just not getting any price action or continuation. Amazon cannot hold above that 200 level. Like it just, I have it breaking by a cent or two up there. I don't know if you saw the same thing, Obi, but it tried to go. I wanted shorts over 200, not underneath. It's going to break this level. I think you just have to be patient for it. There's about 1 million shares on the offer here of Amazon at $200, and that is a monster level. Should get through it any second now.
Yeah, look at that. Look at all those lots. Oh my God, there's almost over 10,000 lots sitting at 200 as of right now. So let's see if we can finally get past that level. That level definitely not really decrementing, but again, I think that if we find a buyer for all that size, it'll there it goes decrements. Okay, and the reload. Did you see that? It refreshed a whole bunch right there, and I guess it's taken out some, but not really. I have a lot of 99s printing here. The tape is moving really fast as of right now. So let me just kind of pull up the tape for you guys here. So we can take a look at it together. Look at that size, guys. Oh my God, this is triple, quadruple eights right there. So over 10,000 lots right here. Look at that, I've highlighted some right there. Over 10,000 lots sitting at that 200 mark. Some of it has been decremented, but then it reloads
Did you just say decremented?
Yes.
You know what? I don't usually do this.
Decrementing,
I'm gonna
but
get it. I don't. No, I don't usually do that. Where you take like 97, 98, 99 and just scalp it. But it's like, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So I was just kind of in and out scalping it. I still think the real Bezos zone was above the 200 level, but for right now they are selling off of that 200. So 201.50 I think is that spot where it needs to get through for a bigger breakout. Again, all I really did was just a little bit of scalping. Oh, Intel short off that 2330. We're not going to be able to get that. But here comes Amazon again. That $200 level still has about 1 million shares on the offer, as we're able to show you. Like, it's still pretty wild. There you go. You can see pretty much all on the one gateway, the primary over there on the NASDAQ. It looks like it wants it here, Obi.
Yeah, it's building up into it, man. So I'm like,
Get there.
all right, well, if it's going to go, how far will it go? We know it's broken already. It's gone to that 201, 201.30. So it has broken it, washed it a little bit here. Let's see if we get more of that wash. Again, lots of size sitting at that 200. Are some of those lots from Bezos? Who knows? I have no idea, nor do I care. But
no way to know.
Let's see what comes in here. All right, so we're coming back down through the half, so that's perfectly fine. We'll try it again. The short definitely coming in real nice there, Neil. As that 200 rejects, we can't really get through those 8,000 lots as of yet. Do we have a buyer for that for those 8,000 lots and above? We shall see going forward today. But the market tailwind, we're definitely getting a little bit of that market tailwind trading above that 20,100 as of right now. And the spider as well. You can see the ES pushing up towards its highs as well. So 199 is coming back in. So that 200 definitely failing as of right now. 98.70s trading. So we did pull back nice and aggressively off of that. So if you were shorting in front of that level, oh boy, you are definitely printing on that short off of the 200 as of right now. So yeah, like we said, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. We get out, we try again, and that's exactly what I did here off of that 200, kind of looking for that ramping to push up into that 200. And if it's not there, it's not there, and we pull back in to some of these pre-market levels here. So again, I'm asking myself, what were the supports I wanted to look at from the pre-market levels that I wanted to get involved with right here at that 198, 197, and then maybe a little bit lower at that 195, just above that. If you guys take a look at the chart of the after hours and the pre-market, you can see some of these levels just consolidating and kind of churning there in and around some of those prices. So let's see if the bid is real, Neil.
Well,
where will it catch?
What bid? It's absolutely dumping, and sometimes you can think the money fills are above 200. No, man, the money fill was actually at 99. 199.99. So shout out to anybody that decided to do more than just scalp the short, which is pretty much that's all I did. And you saw I was in and out of it like very tight. It was like 199.98 to 199, like 70 something. I think I got like the best fill was like 70 something. Basically that quarter. I am into Roblox here. It didn't quite get into VWAP, but bouncing off 51.5. So continuation play on Roblox. We'll look to see if it can take out this 52 level, which was afternoon resistance. So one long in here is the market not really doing much, and that's into Roblox, which we said we liked. Let's go to the desk. Mr. Raider, what you got for us?
For you guys. So for those that swung my positions yesterday, I actually swung those ENPH calls for today in 1108. So this one right now is breaking out with some strength. My target to these is $88 today if it continues to go into next week. So keeping that in mind. And also yesterday I saw a lot of money betting that SPY would reach 574 today, and then around there we expect a slowdown. So just some targeting to keep in mind, guys.
Thank you very much there, Andrew. So, look, you see what's going on there in Amazon. It's absolutely wild. I do want to be able to join this one. It is what it is, and it's at the end of the day, you know, my plan of action was very clearly to short over 200 into 201.5. The last time we were at this price, all the best shorts were above $200. Is what it is. What am I still offering 99s? You're not going to get 99s. If we see 99s again, you got a problem. Join VWAP, something along those lines is what we have to be able to do. NVIDIA is now curling as well, so it's back underneath the 135. It was over under 135, but I was looking for short. That means I don't do anything when it's powering over that price. And if it wants to now hold underneath that resistance, then we're good to go on NVIDIA, as the market is holding basically flat. So you want to make sure you have a plan of action, which is do not try to fight something with a strong trend. If it's not confirming what you want to see, then you don't want to be fighting it, not when we're diddling in the middle in the overall market. So unless I see NVIDIA hold now this next bar underneath 135, underneath VWAP, then I got to back away from it. Roblox is still trying to break through 52. So that's the idea on NVIDIA. I do have it up over there. I want to make sure that we give it a chance. Roblox still holding about 51.5, trying to get into this 52 zone, looking for an add in front of VWAP if we can get it. But for now, that one's sort of cruising along here while Amazon dumps, Obi.
Yes, sir. So yeah, a lot of aggressive kind of action there at that 197. We kind of talk about that. What prices do we want to watch this Amazon at? 197 got bid up kind of aggressively there, so I have eyes on that as of right now. So let's see how well we hold into that 198 mark there. Again, if you guys have the anchored kind of on there, 197 was anchored as well. What's up, Adara?
Just keep an eye here on CHTR. This is Charter. They reported earnings this morning. They beat here on GAAP earnings per share and sales. So they actually reported a 100,000 customer decrease, or so a bit of a drop of customers there, but still beating estimates. CHTR up about 16%. Though it is worth noting we're still below 1 million shares traded on the day, so a bit of lighter volume still so far, guys.
Thank you very much, Adair. Got a new position. It's going to be IBIT, otherwise known as Bitcoin for everybody out there. It's just easier for us to trade the ETF than it is to trade spot. We can actually here at Real Trading. We do have spot, but I like it when it looks like a stock. And I can put in prices like a stock, and that's what the ETF gives you. So break of the afternoon high, and we just to go over the whole idea. If you weren't watching the morning show, simple. Trend line, resistance on Bitcoin, bounce off of resistance or prior resistance to head to the upside. So looking for longs and continuations over 70,000 here on IBIT. So trend up at least early. It broke out yesterday's tops. I want to play this into the $0.50. Obviously, you got to keep an eye. If we're not going into the all-time highs today, I'd put money on that. If we're going to break the all-time high, it's over the weekend. But we'll play every single 5-penny move into the 40-50 and then look for dip buys on the way back for IBIT. So that's the only thing we're in here. Roblox, IBIT, still okay. Amazon's starting to come back. Obi, we're at 199 on Amazon. So yes, Amazon does want to come back in here. Want to make sure we got that IBIT position for you. But here comes Amazon into VWAP. If it can't get to 200, then it's going to be a VWAP fail that we look for a short. So I only want to be short this thing unless it's breaking 201.5. That's the plan of action. Oh, you got the nice. You got the long 198s.
Oh yeah, I got 198s, man. But I was hella slow on that one. I was like, well, I want 197s. 197s come in. We instantly start pushing up 197.40s off of the bounce. Maybe it only spent about like 5 seconds there, and a little bit more hesitation, and I get 197.90. So I'm like, that's not as efficient as I want to be here, but again, sizing a little accordingly to that. But the real trade is above and through that 200. So just waiting, just taking dabs or stabs at this at these areas as of right now. Again, that anchored is sitting right at 197 as of right now. So we're going to be watching that price more than anything coming off of the opening price 199 as well. We couldn't necessarily get back through that opening price as of right now, and like you said, Neil, VWAP is in and around right there as well. 198.82 I have as VWAP, so a little bit of confluence underneath that 199, but let's see if we can break through that. Market is breaking to the upside right now, pushing those fresh highs both on the Spider and on the ES and the NASDAQ as of right now. So let's see if we can get some of that tailwind to give us that umph above VWAP here on Amazon through that 199. Can we get through that 200? I have no idea, but that 197 bounce is kind of interesting as of right now going forward. Let's see if we can get through that pre-market high as well. 220 I have, Neil, as that pre-market high. So we've already technically broken that 200 in the pre-market session. Couldn't really get past it, but let's see if that opening session volume can bring us
Oh, look at the market go now.
Yeah, it's going. The first 15-minute candle, Neil, we still got about 2 minutes left to print that one.
Yeah, we just had the market break out those highs. But what's crazy, you're not getting through VWAP in here. And again, I'm being patient with this. Like, the market's flying. NASDAQ just took out the top. There it goes, taking out that high. So if it's not going to get, if Amazon is not going to get through VWAP in here, I'm still thinking it's going to be a short, but I'll wait. We can wait for 200. If we're going to continue the breakout, then we wait for that 200 level. Only have a couple of longs in here right now. I'll got to fix the scaling on that Amazon chart at some point for you guys. Apologies for that. That's kind of annoying. But Amazon still can't seem to get through 199 in VWAP. Apple is holding above the over-under at 230, 223. But it's already done one rejection candle at that 223. If it does another, I would again look for the short. I did not get my reload in Roblox, so still waiting patiently for that. But I'm still staring down Amazon. It was, for me, the top idea to be looking short off of that 200 level. And if it's going to trend lower highs, the fact that we can't bust VWAP when the market's busting it here, once we close with another rejection, I'm entering a short to the local high. And then another trade would be at that 200 level.
All right. So again, while we wait for this VWAP to kind of push here, I see Fabian kind of or messaged me. He did not message me in my ear. He told me that, oh, take a look at the chat. And I'm looking at the chat here. There's a goal. The goal is 10 orange super chats, and Obi will try Vegemite. And he was like, "Are you cool with that?" Sure, I'm cool with that. Vegemite, come on. I know it's a distinct taste to it, but it's whatever. I'll take a bite. Well, let's see if we can reach that goal. Here comes a 199 as of right now. 250.
Be careful what you wish
at that
for.
199. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the Vegemite, Neil.
You have
I know
no
you've
idea.
tried it before.
Yeah, I mean, no, but clearly Obi was not watching when I tried it, or he wouldn't be so ready to agree to that. But I'm in now. We just closed rejecting that local high at 199. Let's go to Adair. We've got some numbers, but I am now into Amazon.
Higher than expected S&P Global Manufacturing PMI coming through here, 48.5 versus estimates of 47.8 and the previous print of 47.8. So we were expecting flat. We got higher than expected. This is, of course, following a lower than expected here unemployment rate, a much lower than expected non-farm payrolls, and a revised previous print. So actually getting a higher than expected global manufacturing PMI. It's worth noting we have Fed's Logan also starting to speak at 9:45. If I hear any comments there, I will let you know. Then at 10 a.m. we get more data, including the more closely watched ISM manufacturing PMI. Market here pushing back a little bit, but still holding on decently, up about 0.7% on that NASDAQ, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, Adara. So candle closed underneath. Well, we rejected VWAP once again on Amazon. It just got to 189.98, came back under. I got some at 80 level, got some out at 50. My out is 199 or just above it. I don't like even dollar stops, so just above the 199 level, and we're going to drop it. Have a bid at the quarters as well here on Amazon if we can. I don't know if we can. Can we show my chart? Come to the chart, please. There we go. So I have another bid at the quarters, which did not fill. But we got underneath VWAP, so we added more. Out some at 50. If we break out that high, I'm gone, and I'm waiting for the 200 level. And yes, I scalped 198, and that was like the best. I was in front of the 80 level. It was meant to be a scalp trade. It is what it is. Still looking over here at Roblox, which has held on to VWAP, at least for now. So, 51.5, I should say. Not VWAP. It's like VWAP adjacent, but it's the 51.5 level that found support. So I got some on the way back up there at 70s. No fill at 90s yet, though. So still playing the long in Roblox without any break of the 52 level. So a bit of a disappointment that we're not breaking out above that 52. As the market is starting to pull back in on the NASDAQ, it'd be nice if Roblox could take out that high before we get any kind of a dump on this market. Or pullback, I should say. Not dump. Dump's overstating it.
Yeah, Roblox was interesting yesterday. I did trade it yesterday, and let's, I do want to take a look at it once again here today. We were holding some of those levels quite nicely. Oh boy, you remember that GSAT? Well, we talked about this one. Remember that GSAT off in the pre-market, Neil? This is what that GSAT is looking like right now. So. That's
it was free locates too.
It was free locates as well. So, oh boy, that's an interesting push. Again, that 150 never really comes in. That pre-market kind of, I guess not pre-market low, but that kind of trend low right there. That breaks right off of the open 140s, trading at 123s as of right now. Should be interesting. But RBLX, let's take a quick look at this one. 199's printing as of right now there, Neil. Okay, I gotta take a look at this one. If we're gonna push up into the 50s, we're holding the quarter. Can we print the half? As of right now, no, we can't. We come back into 199. So where is VWAP once again? Let's take a quick check right there, 198.82. So we are trading above VWAP. So we did get above VWAP. I did add a little bit there on top of the VWAP right there. So decision making, I like it as of right now. And let's see if we can get through that 200. And if we can get through that 200 and have a distinct hold above, oh boy, Neil, the market is hella strong as well. So let's see if we can get through that 200 as of right now. The question I always ask is, can you hold the quarter and print the half? And we're about to print the half right now. 45's on the ask. Let's slap it. Let's go. Can we get to that 200? Just trying to have.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, I know. But the real ask that is at 200. And oh boy, if Bezos steps out of the way, if that seller lifts, we'll see.
Well, we're assuming that he's there. Because, first of all,
that's an assumption. But
first of all, just you got to stick to your rules.
Yeah.
So, rule for adding on the entry: first out at the $0.50, next would have been at the quarter. You break that prior bar, hard stop, out. Do I like the short at 200? Yeah. Am I going to play it? Hopefully above 200? I probably will. 201.50 is my breakout zone on Amazon, but that's selling. You can't prove that it's Bezos or anything like that because that was just a big chunk million offer at an even dollar on a Friday. So we don't really know that. That's not usually how it goes. I mean, it's more program selling that you would get when a big whale is exiting a position, not just throwing a million shares on an offer. That's what you get at just a random wall that we have there. So Amazon headed back into that 200. ibit still working its way back to the upside. I got to go back over to Roblox because like the continuation on Roblox is underwhelming. So you know what? Instead of adding on the higher lows, which is kind of what I'm doing here, I really just have to wait for this to get into VWAP because you're not getting a break of 52 as we speak. Shout out to Russell Jackson. Appreciate you. What up, Russell? With the super chat, the Aussie dollars. Vegemite in the house. Why? Because we need 10 orange super chats, and in an hour and 45 minutes, if we get them, then you have no idea how bad that tastes. You have no idea how bad it tastes. Then Obi's gonna have to eat the Vegemite, and just a small spoonful. Trust me, it's not very good. It's really old. It's very old, actually. It's really old.
Right.
You don't want it. Really bad. Was that a call for Adara? Adara, please.
Keep an eye here on Marvell Technologies. MRVL up about 8% today at day's highs. I am seeing zero news on this. Could potentially be a sympathy play with Intel INTC, which we know was pretty well received with their earnings last night. But Marvell, very little social media attention, nothing to explain this 8% move other than a potential Intel sympathy play, guys.
I guess, yeah. That's when do they report? When does Marvell report? Let me just double check here. Not for a while, I don't think. They're usually late in the earnings season. Yeah, end of this month. We don't even get them until the 28th. They're always, I think they're like after nvidia is always going to be the case. So first stop here, just want to go back over to ibit. It pulled into VWAP. I missed the bounce in VWAP on VWAP in ibit. So unfortunately, I did not get the added VWAP, but it just got to 40.40 or just underneath 40.40. So I took first legs out in front of it. If we get any kind of a dip, I'll probably look to 40.20 here. I mean, that's kind of unintentional, but I'll probably look to 40.20 for reload on ibit. I am keeping my eyes on Mara as well. Unfortunately, Roblox loses VWAP itself, which means underneath VWAP, wait for the $50 level. If it can't hold 50, then it's not good at all. And Amazon's coming right back into that $200 level. So about 30 cents away, and then we'll see if that brick wall is still there on Amazon. Apple, however, is now starting to fail underneath 223 while the market's at those highs. So a little bit of confirmation. And Apple not really doing the strength that we're seeing with the overall market. You've got NVIDIA breaking out higher, you've got Bitcoin going, you've got Amazon making a run at 200 again, you've got the market breaking highs, and you've got Apple sort of rejecting that 223 over-under level. So this confirms that I can look for that short off of resistance, wanted that confirmation. ibit just tagged 40.40. I'm going to add on the next available dip, but I already missed VWAP once, so I might have to get a little bit more aggressive trying to catch some dips on ibit.
Yeah, this ramp up into this 200 is very interesting. We've held VWAP. There's been size that keeps getting taken out here. A couple orders there on the ask there in the 60s, and we haven't really. Oh, spoofy, might be a little spoof. but they kind of disappeared when we came right back up. There's some getting taken out. 99.70s here, Neil, pushing back right in. Let's see if we can print that last quarter here. It is pretty close there. Again, opening range high was at that 200. Pre-market high was at that 200. It's only 9.53 as of right now, and we're attempting another push at that 200. So let's see if we can get that. Look at the market, Neil. Oh boy. We are definitely sending it to the upside there on the market. 199.80s now. So let's see, we're pretty close, only about 20 pennies, 25 pennies away from that 200 level. And oh boy, if that level comes in, last time we were there were 8,000 lots. So have we found a buyer for 200 at Amazon? Have we found a nice chunky buyer? I have no idea, but those phones are definitely ringing. I have no idea. No, I'm joking. But yeah, no, don't forget to like and subscribe. Maybe that will give us some more buying pressure there, right, Neil? So I have no idea. We are trading a lot of volume here underneath that 200. It makes sense. That short underneath 200 has been the trade over and over again since we've started to see that Bezos lid sitting at that 200. So let's see
Bezos barrier
comes in. Bezos barrier.
Bezos barrier.
Much better name.
I can't take credit for it. That was in the chat this morning. I saw it. We're looking for something that started with a B, and the Bezos barrier is going to be it as far as I'm concerned. That said, I'm not completely convinced that the Bezos barrier is even there. Right now, it's just a wall at 200 on Amazon, which it can't seem to get to again. So we confirmed as the market was breaking highs that Apple was holding and rejecting the 223 level. So it put in a lower high off 220, 223 even. I got some underneath. I want to wait for another wick top through 223. Just hopefully this makes sense. Wait for another wick top and a rejection above 223 to add on the way back down. So I know it's a bit of a bull flag, but when the market broke the highs, this did not break the highs. Next available dip, still waiting for on ibit, but Amazon is going to get to that level first. And before we get to Amazon, NVIDIA holding well above the 135. So the over-under on NVIDIA, never shorted it. There was no closing candles underneath 135, so no short. That was the rule. Suddenly it's going to be a long trend trade. And that's what you have to be able to do. You can like a stock for a resistance level, but you don't have to sit in front of it and just get run over. Not a single close underneath 135, so why would I be trying to grab that short? Work or not, Apple actually set it up for me, so we'll take the shot at it. Here comes Amazon to that 200. Come on, just get there. We didn't come all this way not to actually print 200 on Amazon. That would be an utter disappointment if we never see a 200 print today.
I mean, we had 200 prints in the pre-market, right? But you want to see it in the open session.
That's not the same.
That's fair. That's fair. We're only trading. I mean, here's the thing, man. The book is not that I guess not that liquid all the way up to 200. But a lot of that size just sitting at that 200. So a nice little wipe up can definitely send us right back up into that 200 as of right now. But we're holding quite a strong bid off of that 197. We talk about using anchors as a bit of a guide, using the anchored indicator. Shout out to Brian Shannon there. 197 held quite well off of the dip, right? We talk about kind of a gap. Gap give and go, or whatever you want to call it, a little pullback back into some of these pre-market levels. I like to say, if the bid is real and we pull back or we sell off, where will it catch if it is truly real? And that's kind of what I'm looking for here. And that 197 seems like that was the place to get involved. I did get involved a little too late there on a bit of a prior bar break, but we'll see. That 197 hold was quite distinct. That aggressive buying coming in right away, printing above 197 halves and then pushing right back to 198. So, oh boy, I definitely liked that action. But let's see if we can get through that 200 as of right now. Again, one of the only kind of trades on my list that I had coming into the morning. Now I'm sure there's going to be more trades. I'm sure there are a lot of other trades out there. So throw it up in the chat. What are you guys trading? I see that somebody in the chat just said the BTC 71K, saying David Kyle. So I guess Bitcoin is also moving. Markets are super strong as of right now. So I have no doubts that Bitcoin has been moving around.
Technically has not broken. And look, I'm in ibit, so like the prices are not going to be equivalent. Like ibit's at 42. Bitcoin is just underneath 71,000 by a smidge. So like I just took some out of ibit right here in front of 71,000. Now it's either breakaway, look for ads above 70,000 if we're breaking away from it, or now that we've taken some profit underneath it, look for the dip buy. So now that it's at 70,000, we'll look for the pullback into this prior high. That's 40.25, and then go from there. So Bitcoin continues to ramp higher. Those are little Bitcoins in there. If you got that one to the long side, good for you. All right, here comes NVIDIA and also Apple. So Apple is what it is. Might break out that high. We got the confirmation that it wasn't going with the market, so entered underneath. But once we take out that lower high, I got to jump out of that trade. So we got that lower high first, we break out this one, we jump out of this, and then we just try to ride with the one long that we have. Amazon doesn't want that 200. Are you taking profit in front?
No. I mean, I'm looking for that VWAP. That VWAP sitting at 198.91, Neil. So just try that 199.
Oh, shoot, we broke 71.
Saw the action pulling up into that 199. And yeah, I just heard you say we broke 71. Is that on
71,000 just got broken
on Bitcoin? Yeah. So Bitcoin's definitely pushing as of right now. We got 3 super chats as of right now. So 3 out of 10 guys. All right. So that Vegemite,
we're getting there.
Looking okay, but you know it's only been 30 minutes, guys. So if you guys keep going at this pace, 1 super chat per 10 minutes, oh boy, definitely going to be eating more, maybe more than 1 spoonful of that Vegemite here. 199 is holding as of right now. I'm looking around and seeing what the rest of this sector is kind of doing right here. I'm looking at tech sector as of right now. Nvidia to the upside, AMD to the downside. Intel, oh boy, Intel does another bounce off of that 22 mark, man. How many times do we have to see it bid off of 22s aggressively? Sure, it sold off into it and through it before, but when it catches a bid off of that area, oh boy, do we really get going? And we saw that come in off of the earnings reaction as well as right off of the open today. The wick low is 21.91 on Intel. We're trading at 22.77s as of right now. SMCI to the downside. We're getting that continuation a little bit. We broke prior day's low as well. This name has been selling off since they got that report, or that I guess. What was it? Basically, they're doing some fraud, and the SEC's kind of interested.
Fraud is bad.
Definitely. What's going on?
Bitcoin is good. Let's go to it, Eric.
We just got in here this ISM manufacturing data. So manufacturing PMI 46.5, actually lower here than the previous print of 47.2, and the estimates here of 47.5. So we got a higher than expected S&P PMI at 945. Now we're lower than expected ISM PMI. ISM manufacturing here slightly above the previous print, but below estimates here of 45, coming in at 44.4. Construction spending month over month here 0.1%, in line with this previous print of 0.1%, which seems like it was revised. Then we have ISM new orders, 47.1, so slightly above estimates of 47. Manufacturing prices well above estimates, 54.8 versus the consensus of 48.5, forecast of 49, and the previous print of 48.3. The main numbers here, construction spending month over month revised for the previous month here, above estimates of negative 0.1 and that previous print of 0.1. Then ISM manufacturing below estimates compared to an above estimate S&P manufacturing PMI. Q's still almost up 1% here, up 0.8%. It's been a huge week. We had 5 of the Meg 7 reportings. All eyes are in AMZN as it tries to fight with that 200 Bezos blockade level. We also have IBIT and Bitcoin on watch, with Bitcoin still near but not above new all-time highs. But let's talk about some earnings plays we've neglected. AAPL, great recovery here with higher lows, down only 2/3% now. It did have a beat on sales, but its GAAP EPS was a miss due to a one-time charge related to a tax decision in Europe. They also had higher than their previous services revenue here, nice increase on year over year, but they missed estimates for services revenue. INTC up about 6% here, kind of selling off from some of its pre-market action, but generally strong on the day. They beat here on sales, missed on earnings per share, decent guidance here, and getting some price target increases from analysts like Baird and Rosenblatt, though these ratings are still pretty negative, guys.
Thank you very much. And we just retested on Bitcoin, we just retested 71,000. I took another leg out on that retest of 70,000. It bounced off it the first time. I'm talking about ibit there. I got some 47s out. We're long at 2027. But Amazon, look, the money fills last time we're above $200 on the short. It's just going into 200 and saying we're not breaking. We're back underneath VWAP on Amazon. I've only been short at 200 and then underneath VWAP. Now you got lower highs. I'll probably be looking at a VWAP short again. I just thought we'd get to 200 and break it. We have not broken that 200 level at all. But a name that we have ignored today a little bit, Tesla just bounced off at 250. Well, that's the only place I was looking to trade it for the long yesterday. Yesterday, I only had one short on Tesla. It was at 255 in VWAP. But 250, lit grab or bottoming tail candle at the 250 level here on Tesla. Worth watching. But keep in mind, guys, market is at the highs. Tesla is at the lows. Generally speaking, you want to be long some strong stocks and short weak ones. The other thing you want to be able to do is hit the like and subscribe. And why?
I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.
As if you don't hit the subscribe, then you're going to miss out on all of this fun action in the chat where we get to look at all these super chats come in, because if this 3 gets to 10, Obi has to do a spoonful of this. And without any hesitation, without any hype, I'm not hyping this up. My reaction was genuine when I did a spoonful of this live. I forget what the bet was or the dare was. Somebody dared me to do it. I think it was Mr. Westermeyer. It was absolutely disgusting. Obi has no idea what he's getting himself into, but if we get 7 more, he has to have a spoonful. There is also a poll in the chat. What's your November stock market expectations as the market pulls back in? Bullish vibes, stocks to the moon, bear season, roller coaster, snooze, barely any moves. Oh, come on. I'm always going to vote for what I want. Let's go for some bullish vibes. We want some bounces in November. My mom's birthday is in November. I only want good vibes in November. So that's Tesla going to the downside. Remember I said be careful going long stocks when the market's at the highs and they're at the lows? We got away from that idea. Bitcoin's holding out. So at least IBIT here, let me just go back in IBIT, the only position I'm in. IBIT's managing to hold. When it retested 70,000, I was able to get some out. Now you've got a pretty clean trend. I think we can throw VWAP. I don't want to throw it out the window. I like VWAP too much to throw it out the window. But now you're forming a steep trend here on IBIT. Then maybe I'll look for dips back into the trend line as opposed to into VWAP and then just continue to go higher. I was meaning to look at Mara and maybe double this one up, but Mara wasn't holding above 17. So I threw that out the window and I'm only in IBIT. But if this can start making some higher lows and start pressing, maybe the strength is just going to have to be in crypto-related names, because right now it's not looking like it's in the market. Market pulling back into VWAP, and Amazon is not even chilling at all. It is right back into some of those lows. Yeah, the VWAP retrace, I think we'll have to look for some kind of a pop here to get that VWAP retrace. I'm only really looking short on Amazon right now, so I have to be patient. It was pretty strong on that last move.
Yeah, that selling coming in quite aggressively off of that economic number there, coming right back into 198. So let's see, market hasn't really pulled back down as aggressively. Only about let's say about a 25-30% retracement there of that strong push that we had right off of the open there. ES definitely a lot more stronger than the rest of these names here. So definitely got that market on watch. Let's see if we can catch a bit of a move, a continuation. Let's see, some of these pre-market levels are coming in here on the NASDAQ as well, but Amazon not really holding that VWAP as of right now, just sideways, trading well within the opening range here as of right now here. Opening range being 197 to 200. That's quite a wide range there. So definitely going to be watching this one for now. But eyes on that anchor, guys. That's what I have going on. What's up, Adara?
Mobileye is up here. We were up almost 10%. Nice look here, nice strong push of the open. This was an earnings game yesterday we didn't get to talk about because there were so many earnings. They did report, though, on Thursday morning. Looks like at least day 2 here being very well received, despite getting some price target decreases this morning from Canaccord Genuity and Needham, though Barrett actually maintained outperform and raised their price target on the stock, which has a 22.1% short float, guys, MBLY.
Heavy short there, and Mobileye, that's good for Intel. But thank you. I think it was Russell Jackson again. Wow, we're now 6. It's inevitable. You're pretty much screwed there, Roby. So another super chat from Russell here. The last one, number 6. We are 4 away, and Russell Jackson is doing all of the heavy lifting himself. So have fun with this, Obi. We're gonna have a blast.
I'm always
up
for a challenge.
Yeah, I mean,
Always up for a challenge.
no, that's not a challenge. It's just no, that's just a spoonful of disgusting food. That's not a challenge at all. You just put it in there. You make an ugly face. Everyone gets to laugh, have some fun while it goes on. Obi's a fantastic sport, everybody. So I appreciate Obi for doing that. Go sports. Go Bitcoin. Market bounces. We're headed back to the upside. BTC just made another fresh high. We just got 40, 60s in there. So we're headed to the 3-quarter mark. We're trying to make that push past that 70,000 or 71,000 zone and get it going. Let's go to the desk. We've got the Raider.
Hey everyone, so just some updates on some ideas, as well as some trades I'm looking to possibly take. Just an update on this EMPH. I'm still holding this one. This one's ripping to the high. Again, $88 was my target by the end of the week. One name that just hit my alert was actually Cart. Cart is one of those names similar to Reddit. We have an earnings coming up in just a few weeks on the 13th. When we talk about earnings run up, oftentimes 2 weeks before, somewhere in that range, you often get a run up into earnings. This is where investors start to participate. They want to get in. They want to be exposed to these earnings. So Cart here coming up to the high, 45.19 to my scalpers. I would recommend, not recommend, but highly recommend that you try to play some momentum on these smaller names like Cart, things like that. And one more thing, one more comment is SPY. Right now, ripping, we are targeting, again, that 574 level before we expect a slowdown. Could it keep ripping? It absolutely could. But for right now, I'm not going to necessarily short. The momentum is to the upside. But for those that were wondering, why did we pop off the low yesterday? You should remember, we were talking a lot about the 570 put wall, the 572, 570 wall right here. When you have a large area of open interest where there's a lot of puts that creates an imbalance, it is actually a support zone. So the derivative market is incredibly influential on setting expectations and moving the underlying stock. That's where my bread and butter is, and that's why I've, like to say, pertained some success to trading things like this.
There you go. Thank you very much, there, Andrew. Oh, Andrew, you have no idea how much this is going to suck for Obi. It's like a spread you put on like toast. It's an Australian thing, I think in New Zealand as well. No, but we got this during the COVID days. Like I think it's expired in 2022.
Okay, that was a great year.
I mean, is that just like meant to be as just humanly lab-made as possible, or what? What is that?
Well, no, it's very high in, I don't know.
Salt in the yeast.
Sodium. Okay. It's got a lot of sodium in there.
I'm sure if you put that in the microwave, it smells real good.
Here we go. This is a good thing for you, Obi. It's essential for brain function. Supports your nervous system.
For brain function. I definitely need some of that. 10 out of 10. I like that. That's what that's what you want the trades to be. You want them to be 10 out of 10. So, I like that. I like the confluence that's happening here. 198 halves as of right now, trading underneath VWAP. And it seems like that Vegemite is definitely going to be coming into play here today for me as we got those 10 super chats. So thank you guys for that. Have we read through all of them?
Ooh.
Oh, that smells like Temu Nutella.
Temu Nutella. That's about right. And it probably stayed an extra amount of time on the ship over here as well. But I thank you very much for it. At least you had brave enough to sniff it there. No, Hey Davis got us over the hump. Thank you so much to Ramin and Fabian. You guys really make the show great. 100% on the ones and twos. Great idea there for Fabian and Ramin. And all these super chats, we appreciate you all. Hey Davis, Russell Jackson, and there multiple times. It was, oh wow, Russell all over it. We appreciate all of it. But you know what? Just hit the like, hit the subscribe. Share it show it with friends. I mean, at the end of the day, we're just a good trading community out here, and then we try to be the best for everybody that we can. Try to have some fun doing it. So just one update here. There still hasn't been any break of the high on Intel. I like the fact that it pulled off and got a little bit of a consolidation off of VWAP. I'm still looking for the break off of the top with the market going. We're just in our ibit long. As that just continues to cruise higher. Still looking for that next available pullback as VWAP is now completely out the window for IBIT. And again, I'm tracking this off of Bitcoin, and there's your break and hold above 71,000. So we're still going, probably going to look to 71.5 is the next resistance level for IBIT. I just heard like Plug just made a bit of a move here with the market absolutely flying here, Obi. Was it Plug?
Plug going to be the
No, it wasn't
plug
plug. It was
today?
something else.
Oh, it is going.
No, it is going a little 7% to the upside. It is plug power. I just heard, and all I heard in my ear was that plug power was going. I didn't actually hear a news story to go along with it. Back to VWAP on Amazon at least.
Yeah, back to VWAP there. So we're getting a little bit of again. I was it's funny. I was talking to Max about this level here in the morning, and I was just like, yeah, no, that 200 definitely on watch. But is it going to be clean? Is it going to be easy? Is it going to be straightforward? I have no idea, but I'm not expecting it to be, because I know there's a lot of eyes on that level, a lot of eyes. But the good thing here, Neil, is that we definitely have that market tailwind. Look at that 20,200 push on the Nasdaq and a push up into 5,800 here on the ES. So we'll keep it on watch. Maybe it'll come, maybe it won't. But the tailwind definitely on our side. What's up, Adara?
We have Holo here, H-O-L-O. This is microcrowd hologram. You might remember this name. It runs semi-frequently. It had quite the little fly here, quite the run back in February. Right now here, up about 20%. No news, but we know there's retail attention as it has run before. It had a reverse split, a 1-for-20 reverse split back on October 9th. And just some statistics here, just some facts. But a 4.5% short float on a float of 20 million shares, market cap of $57 million for HOLO, guys.
Holo going, Holo looking very, very good there. Thank you very much, Adara. There was just a VWAP dip on NVIDIA. That is now charging higher here. Not the only chip name going. I'll get to SMCI a little bit later. But above that 135, trending above it. These wicks into VWAP, like at the first one, good. Second one, like look at it, try to play. It's just instant bounces, 30, 40 cents before it's even sniffing VWAP. So that's a big time sign of strength. Over the 135 is going to be key. I don't have any more exit points on IBIT until we make that test of 71.5. So I'm just going to hold on to this. And look, Andrews, that cart, or Maple Bear, as we're supposed to call it, it's absolutely going. So it's still continuing to run higher here. You've got that breakout on the daily, still holding above that as it continues to go. But I had to throw in that you're supposed to call them Maple Bear because that's the actual name of the company.
That was a recent IPO, right?
Well, it's Maple Bear, Andrew. So every single time mentioned on the show, I keep it as real as possible and say Maple Bear because it's just fun to say Maple Bear. But here is Amazon. I got to stick to my guns. It's at VWAP. It's failing VWAP. I'm going to play it again off of VWAP. So closed underneath. I'll get rid of these wicks at some point, trust me. But closed underneath VWAP for a second test. The local high is actually 198.95 in here. I'm going to give it to that even dollar one more time. But again, just underneath VWAP, kind of failed it there. Now you have a bit more of a distinct rejection of VWAP. I'll just zoom in, it's easier to see. So playing it to the short side only so far for myself on Amazon. Market's breaking out highs, and this is putting in lower highs. I still feel like I want to stay looking for short entries into Amazon, not just jamming short anywhere, but short entries.
No, I think that's definitely fair. The market is ripping to the upside. Again, bit of a reversion of what we had going on yesterday. You can see the spider close pretty much at the day low yesterday. Very aggressive selling into the close. 572s all the way down to 568.40s as the day low on the spider, and we're pulling right back up. 574 halves testing on the arachnid as of right now, Neil. So let's see. The market is hella strong as of right now. I keep saying what, Neil? The arachnid? I mean, it is like, look at it climb.
No, I actually had to kill a spider this morning. So
you had to kill it? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Why did you did that?
No, it was basically like it was gigantic and it was in the downstairs bathroom. My daughter would have seen it in the morning and freaked out, so I had to bite the bullet. Like, I had to do it. Like, sometimes you just got to do it. I literally have arachnophobia, so trust me, I was like quaking in my boots.
Have you ever like
my daughter comes first
and like thrown it outside?
No.
No, like, you can like just be like, all right, I'm just gonna
pick it up.
Yeah, just pick it up with like a paper towel or something.
I didn't want to think about that right now.
Place it outside.
I'm not even thinking about picking. Okay, so let's go back to trading because Amazon heading to the downside off of VWAP, and I need to take my mind off of spiders. Why would you even say pick it up? Why would anybody pick up a spider? So Amazon just got to 198 after the VWAP rejection. Now I'm playing lower highs, shorts into VWAP, the Bezos blockade or the Bezos barrier or the Bezos, I only have those two. Oh, I already said blockade. I said blockade and barrier, and I don't have a third one, so sorry. Just held again, but 198, another higher low. So you got higher highs and higher lows. I'm still playing the fade on this one as long as it continues to work. And no, I'm not going to be reading the chat if you put stuff about arachnids in there. I'm just going to ignore it, and we'll talk some more stocks. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, markets climbing to the upside there. Nice little crawl all the way up here, both on the ES and the NASDAQ. So again,
it's a good thing.
Amazon, where's the bid at? I have no idea. Price is definitely compressing. That again, 10,000 lots at that 200. We definitely need some buying pressure to take that out. That's what I'm thinking right now. And what kind of price action do you build buying pressure on? I have no idea either. That's a good question to ask, I think. But I guess Intel holding up as well. I see that, again, that is another name that I had on watch a little bit, that 22.30. They're holding on Intel. Pre-market highs at that 22.40-ish area. Let's see if we can get up there. Market tailwind is hella strong there, Neil. But yeah, nothing too crazy. There goes Amazon. Oh boy.
Oh boy, Trade the Pool allows traders like you to get evaluated and trade real shares using the company's capital. No PDT rule holding you back. That's a real edge in trading. Here's the exciting part. Trade the Pool has just launched a limited edition program for stock traders. For a one-time fee of just $97, you'll receive $20,000 in buying power. All you need to do is reach the profit goal. Best part? This limited edition program now has a reduced profit goal and fewer minimum trades required to reach the funded phase. Plus, the profit split is upgraded. Keep 70% of the profits. Don't miss the chance to explore this limited offer. Shout out to Trade the Pool, where I'm sure you can trade the SPY, which is the only thing you should ever refer to it as, because that is what it is. It's the SPY. Let's throw it on up. I did reload Amazon on that last wick into 199. Let's go to the desk to see what our Raider trader is saying. What up, Andrew?
Okay, I just had to do like a clickbait thing. So as far as what we're doing right now, as far as what we're doing, I would like someone, Obi, if you could press money in Sean's memory. Listen, no, well, he didn't pass away. Well, not Sean's memory, but in his
alive.
Absence of presence.
Can you do it,
Sean
Fabian?
Is still alive. We are having a big trade on this. This is my biggest trade of the week here, ENPH. I've been adding to this all this morning. So $88 again is my target. Now I do want to talk about one more trade. We mentioned this yesterday. Disney. You actually had this nasty gap down, but I am still holding this for 11.08. The strength is serious, and I believe that this right here was somewhat of a max pain move. So still holding this one, but again, the market's just ripping through that 574. We are continuing to go. Am I saying I'm surprised? Maybe, but realistically, I mean, we should have known this. Again, guys, seasonal expectations. The better trade was to the upside. What that looks like is always different, but so far so good. We're ripping, man.
We're absolutely ripping. I dropped the money plane for you in there as Obi doesn't have Sean's board.
No,
I keep saying we need to fix that because it makes no sense for you
to log on to a different account.
Yeah, you
so
have
Stream
my
Deck
account.
is totally different.
You have my account.
Yeah, I have your Stream Deck board here. So we got to get on that a little bit going forward. But yeah, no. There's the cash cow right there. There goes Sean right in the cash cow. Yeah, no, this consolidation here is very interesting. Market has pushed above that 20,200, maybe taking a little bit of a pullback. So maybe we are holding this VWAP for a little longer than I'd like. 137.30 is the high on nvidia as of right now. A bit of a wicking action there on I thought that was a 15 minute, but that is a 3 minute. So all right, not as significant as the 15 as of right now. But yeah, no, I'm not really looking at anything else, guys. I know there are other trades.
Russell's on fire, by the way. It's
Russell
still happening.
is on fire. You said Russ, best rapper alive.
Yeah, and no, absolutely everything. Well, everything is on fire. I have to update you guys on Bitcoin because I have a trail in now. And remember, we said 71.5. That was this little prior low in here. There's a 15-minute chart of Bitcoin, courtesy of TradingView. So 71,500. That just tagged. And the second it did I hit save on my trend line? Apparently not, but it doesn't really matter. So I'll just draw it again. So now that it's hit target, trail in, look for VWAP or trace. So that'll be all the way where we got into it. Maybe we get something a little bit higher. I do want to rejoin the trend if we're able to grab it. But if we lose this trend line, I am going to be out of that ibit long. Amazon still holding on to VWAP, though the market is distinctly different this time. So the second I saw a bid, like, now remember, when I had the VWAP short the last time, where did it turn? Right there at 198.60. So in this test, which is strong, when it goes to that level, I get some aggressive scalp trades out. So it's putting in some higher lows, but I know that's where the buying came in that test. The fast test that worked well, great. We took some out there first because we always will at a supply zone, and then let it play to 198. More aggressive here. Why? Because it's stronger. And no reload this time either. So I'm going to back off of reloading this level and then wait for higher to stay green on Amazon. I believe let's go to the desk and take care of some biz. Or do the small cap recap.
We're going to talk here about the IWM, which is just alluded to there a little bit. It is very strong, up almost 1.5%. Basically at day's highs right now here on this 15-minute chart. We are pushing into 221, but the main level here for the Rust over the last few weeks has been that 222. We tried to eclipse it yesterday, but we were unable to do so. That was as of the pre-market. We sold off after that. So keep an eye on 222. 220 has also been a little bit of interest here for the Russell. We can see it rejecting that area pretty hard all throughout yesterday's session. In terms of small caps and watch, we have Theriva Biologics. This one was actually on our watch list this morning. TOVX trading on the Amex, up about 35%. One of 5 finalists for this Merck grant. This will be, they're going to have to go to Europe to present here. So TOVX with that potential grant story and a 2.2 million share float. Also VIR, this one up 18%. They reported earnings. They missed here across the board, but they did receive get a buy rating maintained here by Needham. So positive response there. Then we have another small cap earnings play, STEM. This one actually reported yesterday morning. So this is a day 2 move. They kind of sold off, chopped around yesterday, missing across the board. But looks like the nice recovery here, up about 14% for STEM, guys.
STEM in the house. Shout out to Adara for giving us those small caps. That GSAT, I'm going to be, will forever be regretting not just jumping in. It was free locates, and we sort of saw that one. Like, it was like, if you could hold on to VWAP, what happens right away at the open, you're rejecting underneath VWAP. It was very fast. And again, you're going to look at, you have to be paying attention to the names that are part of your trade action, part of your trade plan. And that's what you got to do. Like, I knew we were going to be focused on Amazon, which is not on, there we go. Amazon, which is not on the Amex, which that stock is. Remember what I told you guys. If Amazon breaks that high, jump out, no reload. Looking stronger. So get more aggressive out and then allow it to break and then wait for the 200 area. So pick your spots. Make sure you take profit. If it goes to 200 again, it has yet to break $200. Maybe this is a time that it actually runs through that level. IBIT still continuing to go higher. You got to feel like this time it's going through, but until it actually breaks 200, it is what it is. I still have my order out on Intel for this inevitable, it seems like an inevitable breakout. I have to be really patient for it through that pre-market high, that 2340 level. So I'm still looking for that break. Might join it at VWAP now that you're getting at least a bit of a decent trend. Was never catching a falling knife with this name. It was break out the top or show me strength. It's at least now showing me some strength to be able to play off of it here at VWAP. But that 2340 break is still there for me.
Yeah, I have no idea if it's gonna come into that 200 as of right now. But we're printing 99.30s, 99.40s, about 200 lots sitting at that 99.5. But again, we've taken out size like that coming off of the open, so nothing too crazy in terms of size. It's not really significant. The only significant size, again, just in and around or over 10,000 lots sitting at that 200 mark there. Price is compressing quite nicely here, so again, I like that price compression. Let's see if it's like winding up. When that pressure gets a little released, I'm curious to know which way that pressure will or the price will go. If not, we just trade sideways for the rest of the day. If we don't go one way or the other way, who knows? But it's again, like you said earlier, distinctly different from the rest of the market, bless you, distinctly different for sure from the rest of the market. You can see how strong Both the ES and the NASDAQ are here, taking out that size at that 50s right here. So a little bit of a stack there at the 60s. That stack gets wiped as well. Let's see, we are on our way to 200, or do we just make a lower high and come right back in? Price is compressing. We're making lower highs and higher lows as well, orbiting in and around this VWAP area. If you have moving averages, they're kind of getting all chopped up as of right now as well. I like VWAP as well, just a bit of a core of the price action as of right now, as Amazon orbits around this level underneath that 200 mark while the market runs to the upside. So definitely a bit of a wind up here as a package potentially gets delivered through that 200 on Amazon. Are we primed for it? I have no idea, Neil, but
well
sideways action nonetheless. So just got to be patient. You know, we'll wait. Whatever happens, happens. If it doesn't happen, that's perfectly fine. What is the next trade is what I'll be asking, but it seems like the NASDAQ long or the SPY long, ES long was the trade of today. And NVIDIA still pushing through those highs. We talked about some of those levels on NVIDIA in the pre-market today, and NVIDIA definitely showing us some of that strength as of right now. Who else in the chip sector here? I'm looking at
Marvell.
AMD not really doing too much. What's going on with Marvell?
Marvell is continuing, brought to you by Adara, actually. That's trying to bull flag it in here. I mean, yeah, it is trying to bull flag on the 15-minute. Pulling back into prior support, I suppose, at 86.5. They don't report till end of the month, but going upside in a big way after breaking out here on the daily. So 85.6 is that prior high in the daily chart. It looks like you could get a VWAP retracement. That's what I'd like for Amazon, or maybe, actually, no, sorry, NVIDIA. Amazon's still trying to get that 200 level. At the end of the day, I got the breakout set for Intel. IBIT's about to break out those highs. It hasn't really given a good dip buy for reload on IBIT just yet, but I think it's going to be the Amazon show at 200 next. So I played it off VWAP a couple times in a scalp off the 200 level, made sure we got out of its way when it started going upside more. But the 200 level is incoming. I feel like everyone and their mother is going to punch this level. When it goes, 201.50 still overhead resistance on the daily. So to me, a long is into 201.50, and then I'd look reversal. 201.50 was a breakout zone that I liked a little bit more. If it gets through 201.50, then you're through the Bezos barrier.
201.30 is the all-time high, right?
Well, yeah,
201.30, 201.20-ish, depending on.
I said 50 because it's like the even.
Yeah, it's the even after. Yeah, so it's like you're saying that if we can get past that 201.50 and sustain and hold, you like the continuation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Let's see. Market's still booming right here. So let's see if we can if we've passed that 200 after we get back from Madeira with crypto.
We'll be quick here as we wait for that Bezos brick wall to break, but we do have here Bitcoin with what's looked like trying to make its first bullish candle in the last 2 days. We got as low as 68.7s here, now at around 71.6 and progressing rapidly. So good look here for BTC, though yesterday it looked a bit more bearish. Apparently there was a 5.5% decrease in the overall crypto market and $250 million worth of bullish liquidation bets, or bullish bets were liquidated. So $250 million in bullish liquidations and a push into extreme greed. Looked bearish, but right now pushing higher for BTC. Ethereum here, slightly weaker than BTC, still up on the day, but up only 0.2%, just below that 2,600 level. Solana up 1 2/3%, as are XRP, Toncoin, and Cardano. So slight strength for most of these names here, guys. Back to the Bezos wall.
Like, they need buying pressure.
Thank you very much. Yeah, back to the Bezos wall. No, it's still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. Look, I'll just show you here. I'll show you guys ibit that we're still in. Obviously, Amazon's at that 200 level, so a lot of traders are going to be interested in that. You know, the trend that we put on Amazon the whole way. Like, I'm just long once at 27, and then we've been getting out on the way up. Any close underneath this day-long trend line, and I'm going to get out. So you haven't really had a close underneath. You're still challenging. And now Amazon is at the 2. Oh, come on. 199.99. You can't make it up. $1.2 million, $1.3 million on the offer of Amazon currently. So there is the brick wall that we're talking about. It's not the Bezos barrier.
Neil, can I have some more buying power? I want to take that guy out.
Done.
Thank you.
I mean, my hands are on the keys here because I'm going through the breakout, so I'm probably not going to go into Metro right now. So I'm just throwing that out there. Like, No, I'm not taking my hands off my keys
Casually
when it's at
take out 10,000 lots.
99.97. Yeah, let's go ahead and look somewhere else and do something else when you're about to get a breakout of Amazon. Any second now, just go. Did we come all this way?
Okay, all right.
Please just break this live for everybody. It's trying to go. You know what's going to happen now? We're going to stare at it. It's going to reject again, go to like 25 cents down, and the scalpers are going to continue to have fun with it. But no, you're going to chew through this. You've done 40 million shares on the day. You're not going to have any trouble. But see how people are just shorting in front of it?
Yeah,
there's profit takers.
99s?
They're getting the rebate. And when it breaks through, you're going to have everybody that was scalp trading it. There you go.
Let's go.
There you go. That's what we're talking about. Get her done. Get her done. So first move, just what you saw it go right into 40s. Is it going to hold? Hold 200, hold 200, get right back. Hold the pullback. No, it does not hold the pullback. So you know how I roll.
Oh, boy.
Bam. Jam. And then if you don't hold it, I'm out. Oh, you can't see the out because these charts. Anyways, the out's right in here, break even out or just underneath it. I threw my stop right underneath that 200 level, but we got 50s twice. On Amazon. Somehow, no way, that's impossible. Did I get out right underneath? Oh, wow, I got a great fill. I thought I got filled in the second candle. No, I got that out there. P Pro 8 for the win. What an out on the break-even stop. That's golden. That's one of the best fills wow. Okay, so I'm going to look for a VWAP retracement, but on a breakout trade, everyone has their own trading style. For a breakout trade, remember, I think that the Bezos zone is still a little bit of a sell. So 201.50 is the bigger level as far as I'm concerned. So I don't mind taking the break, but it's going to be a tight stop because I've been looking short on it. I got a really good fill. I'm not going to lie. That was a fantastic fill on the way back out. I was still holding on to the final third for the dream, and I think I lost like 11 cents. Or 11 or 12 cents on that final third. That's a gold fill. Shout out to our stop orders. It doesn't get any better than that. I could have easily been filled down here like 72. Let's go to Mr. Raider at the desk.
Hola. Okay, that was not the Spanish channel of Raider. But as far as this right here, TLO, TWLO, this is the name we mentioned yesterday. There was some money betting on a new high today. We have just achieved that. I am still holding my position. A lot of momentum in this. But another name that I'm looking at is actually Boeing. Boeing right here, they got a deal earlier, or some news in the morning, and they're popping off of the lows. Now, when we talk about max pain, they never actually took it below that max pain point. So the thesis from a technical standpoint is still correct that this was max pain here. And so now that we're coming higher, I look to play the continuation into this lunch hour and eventually the close of BA. So scalpers out there, I'd be targeting a new high at 157.07 right here for today.
That max pain look there. It's not just a good movie, it's a good way to look for trading opportunities there, Andrew. So go get them. Oh, Amazon. Okay, so while I was waxing poetic about how fantastic that fill was getting out of the breakout trade, well, it works both ways. You can get a good fill, and then you can miss a great one off of VWAP. So I was sitting on Amazon. Yeah, the problem here is I was sitting at 199.03. I was sitting right in front of 199 for the dip buy into VWAP, and it went to 10s. Right back up to the top. So you get out, look for the VWAP dip, and I didn't get it. However, I have to go back over to IBIT just for a quick second because it closed underneath the trend, and I jumped out. So this will show you right there. Closed underneath my trend line, and I got out. I'm looking for the dip into VWAP once again, so we'll close that trade. We liked IBIT. Tried to explain yesterday, you had the bounce off of the prior trend line down on Bitcoin. That trend line with the lower highs on BTC ended up holding a support. That's a heck of a lit grab underneath that 200 to get down to 199. If it look at that candle, oh my goodness!
Oh, that was messy.
If you break now,
Messy.
now the breakout actually it could be better the second time through. I still want the 199 if I'm able to get it. But you know what? You're not going to be able to find the right stocks to trade. You're not going to be able to find the right levels to trade if you don't have the right tools. And if you want the right tools, an e-signal is for you. Trade smarter, not harder. You want to get an elite trading experience, then you need something that's going to allow you to analyze the market on a high level in a reliable way so you can capitalize on profitable opportunities with a platform that's going to fill all of your needs. We're talking about data on every single market equity that you could possibly imagine, instant trading access, customizable to the nines here with eSignal, charting that's going to change the game for you with excellent back testing and, of course, forward testing so that you can take a strategy, develop it, see if it's actually working when you put it into real trading. Charts that are going to change the way that you trade and the ability to scan for those opportunities. Set up a quote board. You want to do pairs trading? Go ahead and do that. You want to see what's strongest within a sector? Then make sure you put that in there. Every single indicator you want to paint your charts with too many moving average lines to be able to even make sense of it? Go ahead and do that. Float your boat. I wouldn't suggest that if I were you. But at the end of the day, you need a good platform out there because charts are going to be the window to your experience with the market. So check out eSignal, scan the QR code, check the link in the description, and start trading with them right away. eSignal is absolutely fantastic. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be setting mine up at lunchtime today. Just downloaded it. So, okay, I jinxed it. No secondary break of 200. Another pullback off the 200 level. Let's see if it gets into VWAP again. And I try to pick something up off the 199. So like I said, I got out of that trade on ibit. And I'm looking for a VWAP retracement here back into Bitcoin. So we went long the quarters, held it into 40.70 in there. Now we're looking for the dip here in Amazon. Why am I standing in front of a falling knife? No, you wanted it the first time through. I'm not going to stand in front of a falling knife. Let's see it actually make a bounce in a higher low. Shouldn't be rushing into that one. Like, you can get lucky with one of those, but I don't want it running me over. You still have a good trend to the upside. Let it confirm. I'd rather be going with it than trying to catch that falling knife and just hope it works out for me. So that's not my trading style at all. So let's see if it puts in a higher low. I want some confirmation that we're going to get a better move here off VWAP. I wouldn't have been filled anyways. It didn't get down underneath the quarter mark by very far. So I wouldn't have been filled regardless. Maybe just a secondary break here, Obi.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea what the stock is going to do, but again, I just had a trading idea and trying to execute as well as I can on that idea there. That 200 broke. That 200 break was pretty nasty there. Pushes up to 200.5s right away, and then flushes down almost a full point down to 199s, and then kind of just chopping and churning just in and around that 200 once again. You can see the market's taking a bit of a pullback as well here. So let's see if Amazon has finally caught up with a little bit of its beta here. What's going on, Adara?
That's not what I'm...
What a sector board here. Green all the way across the board for finance. Be aware, BRKB is scheduled to report here. So Berkshire Hathaway earnings on watch. This whole sector, though, really strong, led by BRKB and JPM here. Technology services, great. We had Oracle selling off about 4% yesterday, rebounding at least half that move so far. So good look for ORCL. Great look for retail trade, led, of course, by AMZN. Consumer services, green. Transportation, sharply green. Consumer durables, health services. Energy minerals here a bit more mixed. We have COP giving back some of the move yesterday on its earnings. Then we have CVX up 3%. They reported this morning, as did XOM, which is more or less flat. Bit more mixed in utilities as well. NEE down, SO down. So two largest components to the downside, but Dominion Energy strong here after reporting earnings this morning. Health technology here, some strength in ABT and TMO, but Lilly still struggling after earnings. MRK a bit to the downside. Nick's board, but I mean, I haven't even talked about electronic technology yet because this one's interesting. With the exception of Apple down in an earnings move and AMD just a little bit negative here as well. We're generally very strong here with the sector. Semiconductor strength with the exception of AMD thanks to Intel's report. And Boeing here, actually a positive story. Let's see if Kelly Ortberg & Co. can get some resolution to that strike, guys. Great look on this board for the most part.
Thank you, Sharif. I got the spoon.
The spoon is in hand.
Spoon is in hand.
So now why is this the biggest spoon? Oh, I mean, okay, that probably doesn't even fit in does it even fit in the Vegemite? Oh, it's fine. It literally does not. Seriously, like the one spoon that doesn't even fit in the Vegemite. So where's the fail button? What? Why would anyone, like, you couldn't eat yogurt with this? What, you wouldn't stir a coffee with this?
Okay, all right. I
don't even understand
We're just gonna wait for
Okay.
another spoon to come in. Oh, okay.
Oh, wow, it's gift wrapped.
Thank you.
There you go. So now, okay, we'll do it maybe at the end of the throw, because the market's pulling back in
we
here
have
rather heftily.
19 minutes.
So by the way, as I said, got out of ibit, got out of that Amazon in the nick of time, and now the market pulling back. But Apple back underneath the over-under 223 for me, which is also VWAP, by the way. So Apple just pull back underneath VWAP with that market move. I didn't try to just grab it. I tried to get some 90s when it came back in through here, like the confirmation candle. Didn't get them. I'll look for any kind of a bounce. Maybe we're going to get a bounce off VWAP here. So if NASDAQ bounces off VWAP, Apple bounces, plays back into 223. This is one we slapped an L on. Like my red stock today is this trade in Apple on that weakness. Now I want to play back into that weakness. A little bit of a hump, a little bit of a rejection, play back into the short. Amazon's been good. Amazon could have been great if that had followed through. It hasn't. I got to zoom back in because you get a big gap up. It is what it is. So it did not follow through. You're still rejecting the 200 level. We'll see how we do at VWAP here. I'd like a secondary break. Could look pretty good for Amazon. But with the market in pullback mode, got to be patient. If it's going to bounce off VWAP, let it bounce off VWAP. But my eyes are going to be on VWAP for the NASDAQ. If it bounces there, I want to look for some kind of an entry into Apple off of that. But we've profited on our longs. I've taken them out. Let's go see what Andrew is doing.
How are we doing all? So with this sell-off right here, one thing really kind of sparked into my mind that around that 574 level, we've been talking about that today. There was actually, how I got that level was there was actually some flow that I saw come in, a huge call seller on NDX. And this is kind of how I position and see walls. NDX flow from my research, even in the last 3, 4, 6 months, these NDX orders have upwards of like a 88% accuracy to setting expectations. So this NDX guy basically said we'd close under 574 today. So if we do have another high, something in the markets or a chop into the lunch hour past Euro close 11:30, I'll be looking to short. Now, how do I get short side exposure without paying a huge premium, especially with the VIX where it's at today? SQQQ. This is, as an options trader, this is what I try to look at. We talked about this before. Derivatives, bearish derivatives, they can offer cheaper premiums for the similar directional exposure in indices without having to pay that massive premium. So, you know, it's not that I'm a couponer or a thrift store user, but that's how you go around the markets. You got to find the right prices, and you got to see if the risk to reward is worth it here. So SQQ calls, SQQQ. That is what I would be looking to position into around Euro close if you do want some downside exposure, given how cheap the contracts are.
I mean, that's a great look. And I have no qualm saying it. Andrew, when I was your age, I was a couponer. I was a value guy. I said we were on the aftermarket show, and I was telling you, I ate a lot of pork and beans in university. Straight up. Because, Sharif, you laugh all you want, man. Like, hey, track practice, and you got to lift, and I got to get a lot of protein in there, and I was like a bean pole, so it was really, really cheap. I mean, we're talking 69 cents a can, bro. And you get the Heinz. Oh yeah, it was delicious. Like, you get some chicken cutlets on that bad boy, and you're good to go. Let's go over to Adara to take care of some business.
This part of the show is brought to you by Firefly Neuroscience. Firefly Neuroscience has taken a bold step in advancing brain health technology. In collaboration with Bright Minds Biosciences, Firefly's innovative AI-powered platform has successfully analyzed data from a groundbreaking phase 1 clinical trial using advanced EEG technology to track brain activity. This data unlocks new potential in treating neurological and mental disorders, reinforcing Firefly's position at the forefront of brain health innovation. As they prepare for phase 2, this partnership signals exciting developments for the future of neuropsychiatric treatment. Firefly Neuroscience, shaping the future of brain health.
Keeps it real. I'm just saying. So VWAP bounce here, the NASDAQ. So I said I'd look at VWAP for Intel. Wait a minute. Okay, that just got heavy a second.
Yeah,
okay, so look, that looked like a patented pull into prior support, bounce off VWAP, and then you had a little bit of a heavy move in there. The futures are trying to bounce off of what was the initial range top and now turns into a VWAP dip buy. And maybe I'm early dipping my toes in here. But we might be. I'm giving this one to 55s on Intel. Might be early on this one. It looked like that was a decent confirmation forming, but we might still be heading lower here. So yeah, the stop is in. There will not be an ad. I took about a third of what I'd usually be in Intel, but that was early. Amazon's trying to hold on to VWAP. Amazon's holding on to VWAP better. Intel is not. Apple is absolutely not. Tesla is not. I should be in an Apple short. I don't have much of an excuse for not being in the Apple short underneath that 233. I like 223, I should say. I like 223. We took it once. That's an L for the day. And then there was a mean reversion that I didn't grab either on Apple. Higher low, higher low. Look where it closes underneath the trend. Boom. I love that setup. Now, you got to be looking short already for something like this because it's trending up when it does it, but I was looking shorts on Apple. So I should have been into that trade. Like I said, I don't really have a good excuse for not being in it. Outside of I missed this trade at 223. Rapid action here. The NASDAQ's at that 20,150 and bouncing off of VWAP in here. So I'll allow that bounce to maybe give me an entry on Apple into VWAP, but it was Intel that we just got into. So it's trying to hold again. If we can close green on this candle above, then I should be adding. Ooh, we just got an early look. Yeah, we did.
What's the early look?
Ramin, we just got an early look seeing Satya set up. Ramin's trying to tell me that we didn't just see that, which we did. Satya and Sharif on the midday going to be dropping hot lessons for everybody. Okay, now Intel is trying to confirm, so I'll look to add to it. Let me go back over to Amazon because Amazon might have been the best. Yeah, like look at the liquidity. Look at these grabs at VWAP.
Yeah,
Heavy grabs at VWAP here on Amazon. Like it's rejecting it and getting right back into the 30s and 40s. So you're still getting this nice little bounce, but Amazon seems like it wants to charge back up to that 200 level. Let's go back to our good friend, Mr. Raider.
So I have a few announcements. Number one, I did actually exit majority of my ENPH and T-low trades. I'm going to hold some runners, given the risks of the market as well as that NDX flow this morning, signaling that we might close under 574. I think we got a lot of that upside potential already. Risk to reward is down, diminishing as far as into the rest of the day. I'm going to go eat lunch, but I will say this. Into the end of the day, Raider, since it's my last day, is going to be giving away an exuberant amount of money. So for everyone in here, if you don't show up to the after show, I'm sorry, but you can't make a lot of money, potentially. So that's my announcement. You guys better stay.
You heard it. Mr. Raider's going to be on the market recap show tonight and doing a giveaway. So make sure you stick around for the rest of the day, not just for the lessons, not just to see Obi have to, well, you know what, you're going to do it any second now because we're almost done the morning show. Yeah. You probably want to do it before lunch so you get the taste out of your mouth when you eat lunch. But yeah, Obi. And shout out to everyone in our fantastic community, and a shout out to Russell Jackson for doing some heavy lifting. Hey, Davis, everyone that gave the super chats. We had a goal today. I think it's, we just started doing this because I think they just started throwing up. We decided to have some fun here with the chat, which you have to be a subscriber for. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe, get in the chat, and then you could participate in something like we did today, where Obi, because we got 10 orange super chats, has to do a spoonful of Vegemite.
You want me to do it right now?
Well, I mean, the spoon is here. The Vegemite is here. It's up to you. You got to do it before 11 o'clock when we throw it over. But it's up to you. If you're gearing up for a position, I don't want to put any pressure on you. Maybe we'll go to Adara for money talk.
Look at those bids get.
And then we'll come back for some Vegemite goodness. And there's nothing good about it.
What a day when it comes to economic data. This week was jam-packed. We did have PCE and GDP there on Thursday and Wednesday, respectively. Now we have non-farm payrolls, which came in well below expectations, to put it mildly. 12,000 jobs versus 106,000 expected and 223,000 prior for the month of October. There are a couple of things to note, though, here. We did have BLS saying that the Boeing strike actually likely was a huge contributor here to the fact that we had less jobs being recorded than expected. Apparently, they're thinking that subtracted about 44,000 jobs. That was expected as well. I'd read some analyst notes saying that BA and that strike could be impacting this print, so that's worth noting. Also, as mentioned this morning, hurricanes potentially impacting this number as well. There was also revisions lowered these previous combos here by 112,000. So August and September, we've now had 112,000 less jobs than initially reported, thanks to those downward revisions over the last 2 months. We also had here this morning a higher than expected S&P manufacturing PMI, a lower than expected, or sorry, yeah, also higher than expected. Your ISM, lower than expected ISM PMI, higher than expected S&P PMI. I was looking at the wrong ISM number there, guys. But unemployment here, 4.1% versus 4.1% prior. Next week should be huge for the DXY and for the market. We have that presidential election on November 5th. Then on November 7th, uncharacteristically on a Thursday, we have the FOMC meeting. Right now, the market's pricing in a 25 basis point cut, following that somewhat surprising 50 basis point cut we got at the last meeting. Let's see how this goes, guys.
Yep. Right? Like, all right, so you have a great price, and then when it starts to accelerate, you're good.
No, we're just talking about that reversion on Apple here when the market did that nasty pullback into VWAP, which we're still in as we speak. But another bit of a rejection here on Apple. It tried to get into 223. If we can come to the chart, try to get into 223, where I was looking for a VWAP short. Look at that wick. Like one little move, like 50 pennies up, rejection back to the downside. It might have just been right to stay away from some of those longs. I'm still going to wait for IBIT to come back in here and give us, let me zoom out so you can see like yesterday. So basically all it did is you had a consolidation for the second part of the afternoon. We took a break of that consolidation, played it into, I'll zoom it all the way out so you can see technically where we got the trade from. Take it all the way into this prior support in here. And once you tag that and reject it, I got out of it on trend, and now we wait for it to pull back into VWAP. So if it bounces off VWAP, great. I'm going to go back into a long on IBIT. But until then, you let your plays work for you, and then you wait for the next available trade. I'm not going to force the action whatsoever here on IBIT. I want it to show me some strength off of VWAP. But man, I should be short Apple. There's no question about it.
Yeah, that reversion was wild, man. Like this. I'm just looking at these wicks, these candle bodies right here. Like, oh boy, look at that candle coming in right through that 20,200. I'm just like, oh damn, girl, look at that body, and coming right in. Look at that. That's aggressive right here. You guys don't know that song? Come on, I work out. All right, so 20,200 coming in right now to 20,100. That aggressive selling, and buyers are definitely working out on that one, working out of that one. Yes, Neil. you never know what to expect.
You really don't know what to expect. The timing of that was I don't know if you realize how.
Just talking about candle bodies. You got the wicks, you got the candle bodies.
Sure you are, Obi. Sure you are. You know what you are doing right about now,
yes.
though? So first of all, okay, I'm going to get some out of the Intel bounces off VWAP here. Looks like we're not getting the VWAP yet on IBIT, but the Vegemite's locked and loaded and ready. And shout out to everyone that participated in this. Because we have a fantastic and fun community. And shout out to Fabian and Ramin for the idea to allow Obi the privilege of a spoonful of Vegemite because our generous viewers decided to get us to that super chat goal. We needed 10. No, well, it's probably better if you don't smell it. You don't want to smell it first. You're going to do it anyway, so you might as well just do it.
That's the full flavor. Don't you know, like 60% of taste is like.
Yeah, my strong suggestion, because I have done this before and it wasn't fun, is to just go ahead and get it done.
Okay.
It doesn't taste good, it doesn't smell good. If Ramin says that she doesn't think it's that bad, to each their own.
All right. Well, I mean, I got to do this myself. Is somebody going to feed me? Like, what's happening here?
Feed you?
Okay.
I know you didn't just ask someone to feed you, Obi.
I did. I mean, look, this spoon is struggling to get in there as well. So is this?
That'll work.
That'll work. That's about a spoonful. I'm sure.
That'll work.
About a spoonful.
Now you're just stalling.
All right, guys. Vegemite. So let's go through some of the
Get her done.
Some of the stats here. Okay. Servings per package, 30 servings. So we can do this about 30 times, Neil, and we'll be fine. So that's pretty good. There's a lot of liquidity in here. You can kind of. Okay, so yeast extract.
Right now. He's stalling. He's
grown on barley and wheat, salt, mineral salt. There's some. Okay.
Sometimes you just gotta grit your teeth and get it done. He's fronting. See that look? Oh, get out of here. Ugh. No, you did not. No, you did not. No, you did not. You have no idea how nasty this stuff is. It expired 2 years ago. Serious right now?
Stop it. Get some help.
This is not as nasty as the lick grab that we had at that 200 mark. That's all I'm going to say. So after living through that a little bit,
yo, props. I'll give it up to you. I got to give that up.
there's still some left.
He didn't even make a face. And he's still licking it, which is kind of grossing me out.
Get some help.
It's kind of not coming out.
Now, wow, you took that like a...
Next trade.
Like an absolute
What's the
champion.
next trade? Let's
like
go.
an absolute champion. Stuff's disgusting, man. It's gross. That's gross. That stuff is gross. But wow, I'm actually very impressed, Obi. Like really, kudos to you, an absolute sport. And you're still licking it, so I'm just gonna look away. He's still licking the spoon as if
It's
this
like
is
stuck on there, dude. Here comes 200 again.
Just because it's on there doesn't actually mean you've got to clean it. There's a dishwasher out back that does that job. It's cool.
200 again. Amazon, here we go.
I'm kind of speechless. I don't even, Obi will just eat it as the market is eating up the offer because we bounced off VWAP.
Oh,
So there we go. We bounced off VWAP on the
Slap that
NASDAQ.
ass.
Why? Because the NASDAQ,
200.
the NASDAQ just listened to Obi and said, hey, if Obi can do the Vegemite, then the market can get back to the high of the day. So let's go. Shout out to you, Russell Jackson. Let's go, Obi. Let's go. Let's go. I absolutely love it. Unbelievable. Shout out to you, Russell. Which, by the way, it is Russell. Russell's been one of our longtime viewers from when we came onto YouTube, and he's the one that got us this Vegemite. So, and that was a while ago. We got this in 2020, and it does say on the it does
Another
say
great year for trade.
It says April 22 here. So as far as I'm concerned, that expired like 2.5 years ago. So just a quick update. We only have like 90 seconds to go, and then we'll throw you guys over to Taya and Sharif. That VWAP bounce on Intel, I was early on it. We waited for a confirmation green candle, grabbed some more at 74. It's now playing into to the $23 level. I just took some out. Now I roll 80s, 88s, 94s. If it breaks 23, look at all these topping tail candles. Every break of 23 is failing 23.10. So as it gets into that, you know what, as a matter of fact,
200.
on that note, I'm going to get one more out here in front of 23. And then I'm going to look for a break of 23. If it gets into the 23.10 and does not break, I'm going to cover more underneath the 23 level. But I want to let this play through this area without taking any fills. And if it breaks out the top, take the fills through the high of the day, if that makes sense for everybody. As Amazon is also going right back into 200.
Like it just reserved 200.
It just cannot hold above $200.
Like
it was like one breakout trade. You could get 40s and 50s. That's pretty much the best you get. Like 250 cents is the high of the day. And then it was right back under for a fail. If you shorted it, it was better than if you longed it, obviously, but we didn't. And now you're getting a nice rounded bottom into what looks like a secondary break. I still think 201.50 is the big resistance level on Amazon. Look, man, it's a chart setup, okay? Not everything has to be innuendo. It's a nice chart setup. You get a rounded bottoming pattern. Is that better? Rounded bottoming pattern into a potential re-break of the high on Amazon.
I like those patterns.
I know you like those patterns. But you know what else we like? We love the midday, where we're about to throw you. We'll be back at 2 o'clock. And hopefully we'll have just as much fun as we did. And then in the aftermarket show, we're going to have Andrew Rader with a giveaway as well. So that's going to be a big one. We have a big day planned for everybody. It's been a fun Friday. But let's kick it on over to Sharif and Sataya for a little bit of Learn to Trade.
Apparently it's Joseph on today.